Win? Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I've missed you. Haven't done any content. Couldn't get any content done. Got kicked out of Google. Got kicked out of YouTube. Didn't take my security keys with me. And, just the biggest shit show Sean-style meltdown of all times. Went out too heavy on Tuesday. Wednesday was a complete write-off. And now we got this going in the background. I don't know if I can bring it up. I'm pretty sure. But, this is what... You've got 3 copyrights. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. How are you, Blaine? How you doing, Eugene? Good to see you, boys.
What can you say? We fucking done it! Come on!
Mate, it's been the heaviest week of my life. And like I say, look at him. There he is. We've got so much to talk about. Him, Daniel Levy, the players. We've got, there's 150, 200,000 people there today. I'm a little bit angry with the football club for not giving the people that couldn't get a flight home on Thursday enough chance to get back. Why couldn't they just put it off until Monday? What the hell is going on, Eugene? What's going on?
Man, I'm so jealous. All my mates on WhatsApp, like Ben and everybody else, they're just at the parade. Phil P, shout out. And I'm so happy for everybody, right? For the long time going fans just experiencing this. I'm jealous, but at the same time, I'm so happy. I've been to parades. I was telling Blaine, I've seen my teams win 7 championships. I've never cried ever. And now I'm in the bar in America with American Spurs fans who don't have any kind of links to Tottenham other than just supporting a team. Final whistle, I'm crying. When I see Sonny cry, I just broke down. And everybody around me is crying. It was unbelievable.
You know what? I feel like, when people sit there and go, I'm a bigger fan because I do this, or you're not a bigger fan. And I sat there and all the time, and people say you're the problem. You're not a real fan of the football club. You're a fan of spreadsheet, Sean. You're an accountant. Yeah. You don't feel the same way I feel about Daniel Levy. How do you feel now, by the way, people? We're going to be talking about that. My chairman. He's my chairman. But I felt like I was a little bit wooden inside because everyone's bawling their eyes. Like Henry Wright, who I've just sent the link to. Shout out to you, Henry. I see you in the chat. If you just got home, then jump on and let us know what it was like to share a room with me for 3 days. Apparently, I talk in my sleep. Apparently, I celebrate things in my sleep. He was saying to me this morning, he goes, mate, has anyone ever told you that you are an interesting person? And then before I let him the chance to finish his sentence, I was like, wow, yeah. And then he goes, when you're asleep. I was like, what does that mean? He goes, mate, you were in the middle of the night, you were just rolling over and talking to yourself about whatever's going on in your head. And you were like, that's fucking brilliant. That's fucking brilliant. I don't know what I was dreaming about. But...
Do you know what you should do? Set third channel, Sean sleeps. Documented on me.
Yeah. Look, it was one hell of a thing, but I didn't cry. I see Johnny bawling his eyes out. I see everyone bawling their eyes out on Twitter. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't want this to sound in any way like taking things away. I just feel like this is their moment. I'm just a participant in it. It's not. I didn't like Brennan Johnson scoring the winner. This geezer on the stream on the screen right now. It wasn't. It's their moment. I'm just an observer of it. So I don't feel like. But then again, maybe I wouldn't cry if I had a child or or something. Last time I cried, I think I broke my toe trying to kick a weight in Thailand, getting out of a boxing ring. I fell over on the bottom rope in front of a hot-looking girl and embarrassed myself. And that was sort of cry-worthy because of the pain I was in, not because of the or the embarrassment maybe. But mate, I don't know. Fuck, this last few days I feel like has been just. It's a game changer for Tottenham. We spoke about it, right? We spoke about it for months. It's the biggest sliding doors moment, and we've done it, guys. We have absolutely fucking gone and done it, and everything changes for Tottenham. All of the positives that we spoke about can now manifest if you have a chairman who's experienced this for the first time or the second time in his tenure. And I think I hope that he is going to love the taste of that moment. And the fact that for once, not everybody's going after him, and that you'd hope that people are going to give him a little bit of rope now and see what he does in the summer, and that he knows that this moment is probably, I think not probably, 1,000,000% more appropriate to go for it than ever before, because there are 7 other teams that are chomping at the bit. United are in free fall. They are absolute shit show of a football club, and Tottenham Hotspur can steal an advantage here. We've got all that money coming into the club from the commercial side. Now we're back on with the prize money through the club. Now we get more match day events. By the way, I'm going to be saying hello to the chat in just a second. But like, now's the time. In 2019-20, when he decided to go 500 days without a signing, I know everyone was furious about it. I understood the difficulty of that thing when you've had an abnormal event, and then people set their expectations according to it, and then it comes back down. Gravity takes hold, and then you've got $1 billion in debt. And Arsenal went through it 8 years before they won their first trophy after leaving the Emirates. It didn't take us 8, it took us 6. How about that, Arsenal? How about that, buddy? And I just right now, the next 60 days, 90 days is the time to go for it, because it's perfect. It's perfect to steal a march. It's perfect. We've got the money. We can front run it, and we can make some decisions around who's good, who's not, who's surplus. The Ange thing, fucking hell, boys and girls. I saw a poll on Tuesday on Twitter, 16,000 people. Are we Ange in or Ange out as it currently stands? 85% were Ange out. Same person, same poll, Thursday morning. 85% Ange in. Right?
That's
all that needs to be said, Sean.
Flip-flops are anonymously
everywhere.
It's crazy. But like, I get it. I can understand in the moment, like, you think give this guy another year, right? But I don't know. We'll talk about him in a second, guys. What's your overall thoughts, boys, on where we're at right now, what this means for the football club?
You see, if we lost that final, right? You're going into next season, no European football. You've got limited budgets. You're going to have to sell off assets. You have players that were thinking, should I stay? Should I go? We're not going to get success. You look at Micky Moore in that bus. You look at Archie Gray in that bus. Lucas Berghvall in that bus. This is the future of our squad. Now tasting success. Now seeing what this club can be about when you put effort in the right places. For me, Sean, that you put it rightly, and I actually said it in the Savage stream the other day as well. It's a sliding doors moment, and if we don't push on with the backbone that we have coming through with the youth, mix in a bit of experience, man, I don't know, Eugene. What do you think? Because to me, this is even bigger than the Champions League final. I think.
I agree, and I don't want to be like pessimistic, but just I've been following sports for a long time, and I've seen teams also like they win and like this is it. This is the moment where we'll kick on, and they never do. I just hope that Levy learned his lesson from the Champions League final or those seasons where it was time we didn't do it. I hope that, and it's not even about Ange or individual players. It's about the mindset of the club, and I just hope that, this is that moment, but I just feel like there's so much work to do, right? We just need to figure out who the manager is, the players, ins, outs, the structure of the club. So I am hopeful, but I'm not sure that just given kind of where we are, how we do business, that it can actually happen. Maybe it's Spursy of me. Maybe that mentality isn't right, but maybe it's PTSD. I agree. This is the moment where we should kick on, but I have my doubts, unfortunately.
I'm just putting a poll in, right? How do we feel right now? Ange in, Levy in, Ange out, Levy in. I got to throw my boy Levy in there and see where we're at. Ange in, Levy out. Can we get a fourth one? We can. Ange out, Levy out. Make sure you smash that poll, guys. I think I've got you right. Ange in, Levy in, Ange out, Levy in, Ange in, Levy out, Ange out, Levy out. I need to get this 300 and something people here already. I need to see what we're doing with this one because the flip-floppery, boys and girls, is out of control. And I don't like Ange said, he said a lot of things, but one of the things he said was, if you didn't think I was a good manager yesterday, then you shouldn't think I'm a good manager tomorrow, right? That 90 minutes of football shouldn't change how you feel about him. But here's the question for you. And by the way, I'm not taking anything away from it. I said to you guys, said to the channel, said to everyone, and this is not, I'm not in any way spinning this to a negative. I just want to take the opportunity. I've been dying to get back to you guys to be able to speak to you because I haven't had a fucking chance to do any content for the last 3 days. Biggest fucking moments do content. I would have had probably 80,000 subscribers if I put out some of the content that I was thinking about putting out, if you know what I mean. That should be on a different OnlyFans account probably. But what? Okay, thanks. The reality to me is I think we have to chew this over because the seconds can't go past, right? The seconds can't go past any faster than they are. It's been a whirlwind of 3 days. And I want to get everyone's vibes because he said it's who we are, mate. Right? When he was defending the 9-man back line on the halfway line against 9 men against Chelsea, that was it. It's who we are, mate. And then for 18 months, 2 years, never going to change. This is who we are. This is what we do. It wasn't what we did in the final, was it? It wasn't who we are in the final. It wasn't who we are in the semis. It wasn't who we were in the quarters. So my question is it like a philosophy that suddenly goes out the window when there's a bigger fish to fry? Or is it just a load of fucking bullshit in the first place? Or is it that he's on the screen right now. Is it that he has realized that there's more than one way to skin a cat and that, next season, the version of him in the Premier League doesn't have to be this not gung-ho, but this kind of like attempt at, doing things that no other manager does because it doesn't lead to success? Has he realized that at this level, you can't just do one thing, even if you do it well, because you'll get figured out? That didn't happen in Scotland because he had the best of all of the bunch, right? And he was playing against people that were 40% as good as his team, so he could get away with it. Similar to, I guess, how Man City have done. Has he realized it? But now he's spinning the story back to be like, I'm a winner. And that's, one thing you got to know about me is I'm a winner. What is the rationale for why we had to put up with explanations that were really justifications and excuses for 2 years, why we had to separate the league from the cup just to not have to do it, to hear any of that bullshit in the final or the semi-final? Is he a spin doctor, or is he realizing and learning on the job? And if it's the latter, then maybe there's a rationale to say, all right, own it and we'll move forward. But if there's not, then I think that the whole philosophy thing is just waffle that we put up with for 2 years, and now everyone can see that when it matters, he'll do what he has to do to get it done.
I'd heard a phrase being bandied about, Sean. You might have heard it too, Eugene. Ange ball and Ange wall, right? So but what I don't understand, Sean, is why has he not done this in the other cup competitions away to Liverpool? Why didn't we play like that on Wednesday night, like we did against? Like, I'm taking nothing away from it because I tried to say to myself, no, I'll keep positive for the rest of this week, see how the rest of the season. I haven't changed. I still want us to move on. That's all I'm going to say today because I want to keep this positive, happy.
Yeah.
That's it. But no, stance hasn't changed. I don't see enough from him to suggest that things will change that much next season.
What about you, Eugene?
I admit I flip-flopped on Ange many times. Initially, I like him as a person. When he came in, I like what he stands for. I like kind of how he tried to instill a certain philosophy. And I defended him for a long time. But then probably 70% through the season, I'm like, you know what? It's untenable. And 5 minutes before the final, I'm like, either way, he's got to go. It's just not, after the final, my head says he's got to go. But my heart says he earned some more time. But I just feel like ultimately he can win us a cup. He can win an individual game, but the evidence shows that over the season, he hasn't shown that he can manage multiple competitions. He hasn't shown that he can adapt, in all the cups and in the league. So for me personally, a lot, I'm gonna love him forever. He won us a trophy, but I just don't think he's the guy to like. I care about the trophy, but I want us to compete year in and year out
Yeah.
consistently. That's what I care about in the next 5-10 years, being there every single year. And I just don't feel like he's the person who can keep us at that level.
Let me see how how's that poll doing. Let's have a look. See. So what are we on? We're on from 130 votes. 38% are both Ange in and Levy in. 7% is Ange out, Levy in. 33% is Ange in, Levy out. 22% is get them all out. I mean, apart from Ange out, Levy in, it's a fair split, right?
Tough crowd.
Well, it's not easy to please, right? You can like all Tottenham fans. It is what it is. Let's pivot to Daniel Levy. I've never seen him so emotional in that. We're champions. He sort of sounded like he was either along with about 12 beers, a bit like me, or just a little bit kind of I don't know, overjoyed with the moment, And he, I think that like winning is addictive, And I just wonder whether or not he is now going to. Well, first of all, are the fans in the online space going to give him a bit of a breather? Do you think, boys, or do you think they're going to like wait for the first chance if there's a shitty little link? I mean, first of all, I maintain my position. If we sign Dominic Calvert-Lewin this summer, I am Levy out. 100%. Of all of the reasons why I would go Levy out, that to me is an easy one because Dominic Calvert-Lewin is not for me. But yeah.
Sean, if them lot end up with, as I've seen recently, by the way, Benjamin Sesko going to Arsenal. Apparently talks are open there, right? If them lot get Sesko and we get DCL, he can fuck right off. Like, come on.
I'll do an ACL trying to kick him out of the club or something,
For the sake of the show, let me disagree a bit. From the ownership perspective, from Levy's perspective, I don't know, like winning a cup, it's great for a week, right? But I think the kind of bigger mentality kicks in because at the end of the day, it's business. He can be happy, he can be ecstatic. It's like, yes, we won. But on that level, as an owner of the club, I think it's different than a player or as a fan base. Winning a cup is amazing, but I'm not sure if that feeling will last for a long time. I think it's going to go away and the ownership is going to go and do what they do. That's my personal opinion because it's bigger than a trophy for him as an owner, right? So I'm not sure if the Leopard is going to change his spots at this point.
It's like next week, right? And just to draw context, my company, right? CEO will stand up on town hall next week and go, what about this contract we done? What about this deal that we did? You did fuck all, mate.
Yeah.
It's the people who actually are in the front lines who've led to that success. Yeah, you can enjoy it, but personally, did you really do it? No.
Well, that's why I don't hold this buck stops at the top thing, And I said this on Twitter. The buck stops at the top is only ever seems to be used on a negative slant. Right, but you never hear the buck stops at the top when things are going well. Never hear that. Not just at Tottenham, but everywhere. You never ever get if you're the top of the tree, you only ever get the shit thrown at you, and you never get the credit. But on this one, if the buck stops at the top, it has to be consistently applied. Right, this guy he's overseen the longest trophy drought in the history, but he's also overseen. Maddison almost fell off the bus then, I think.
He's still drunk.
He's had a few, hasn't he? He's had a few, that boy. Yeah, I wonder, what's this? Ray and Nouri has switched to CAA this week.
We're coming into silly season, Sean. You're going to be streaming every day, mate.
I will be, yeah.
Content.
This extra 2-week window before the Club World Cup.
I know, mate. I can't. I'm going to be out there. I think after this stream's done, I'm going to be going out doing a transfer roundup. I haven't even had a chance. I haven't even had a chance to look at the the transfers over the last couple of days. Has there been any stories out? Have I missed any juicy ones? Are Tottenham linked with Gyökeres or anything like that?
I haven't seen much. Although, to be fair, my Twitter's been flooded just with constant memes about Arsenal taking photos and fucking Roy Keane getting stuck in the mud by Maddison. Oh, I love to see that.
Do you know what? James Maddison's got an answer for everything, isn't he? He's a really confident, cocky little shit. And he wanted to go on just to wind up his mate Roy Keane. But do you think we're going to be okay? Someone's saying we got a game on Sunday. I forgot. I'll be there though.
Who's going to be silver?
I think we're playing on a rugby pitch on Sunday because
I was about to say the pitch is ruined.
Ruined, right? It's absolutely ruined. I saw some clips of like people doing knee slides in jeans, and it's like the grass just getting torn up as they slide along.
Speaking of the Brennan Johnson knee slide, was the funniest thing. It was the worst knee slide I've ever seen. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was fitting. It was a crap goal, just a game and the knee slide. Just
hang on, was it a crap goal though? Was it a crap goal? Because I watched it like 30 times in super slow mo, and the first 20 I was like, I'm not even sure if he got a touch on that, Yeah. I think he's claiming something that doesn't actually belong to him. And then when someone pointed out, actually, just look at the very end, and they had to slow it down, like to watch it from like a 12th angle, and he's falling away, and the ball is going to it's going to hit the post, and he just like throws his toe out and gets a tiny little glance on it, last thing before it goes over. I don't think it goes in if he doesn't get that nick on it. And so I could be wrong, but on that basis, it's probably one of the best goals that we've ever scored.
Oh, it's so funny, like all the abuse that he's been getting, and now he's a legend. Now he can say, hey, I won you guys a trophy. And, we can say whatever we want about him. He's always or usually in the right place at the right time. For those tap-ins, you need to be in position. And he's the only one who's there.
Yeah, it was a fantastic run from him into the back post. Well, it became the front post in the end. But
and a great cross to pick him out.
Yeah, was that Udogie, wasn't it?
No, Sarr.
No. Who was it?
Sarr.
Sarr's cross, right? Sorry.
It was the best pass probably of his life. He's not known as a crosser or a passer. Probably the best cross.
At that stage, I was like this with my head in my hands, going, "Just keep it down, keep the vomit down, keep the vomit down." And I was like, "Oh, what's going on?" It was possibly the worst game of football I've ever had to endure. In terms of just my general well-being, But not. I won't be doing that if I'm going to go to Udogie. I'm going to fly in and fly straight back out again. I think because I just can't be trusted. I can't trust myself.
You say that now, Sean.
You say that now, Sean.
Hey, listen. If we win the Super Cup, we're going to Rio in 4 years' time for the Club World Cup. And then I think I will be one of those people that doesn't make it home. There'll be like some people that go missing out there that never quite return. I'm not sure. Rio for the Club World Cup. Wowzers. I was on the plane with Rio Ferdinand on the way out and got a picture of Glenn Hoddle, and Gareth Bale was there as well. And who else was there? There's a few worldies. I think Peter Schmeichel rather was on there as well, apparently.
How does Johnny end up on every TNT Sports fan bloody cast before the games?
So I don't know if it's from the same connection, but like there was a guy reached out to me from TNT when we played Arsenal in earlier on this season, and they said, "Oh, are you going?" It was the away game, and he said, "Are you going?" I said, "No, I'm not." And he said, "Oh, do you know anyone that is?" And I said, "Yeah, I know a guy called Johnny." And so I put him in touch with that guy, and that's when he got on with Dan Potts from the Arsenal 12th Man show. And then so that's obviously when he took their number or whatever, and they reached out and said, "Do you want to come on again?" But I only saw the clip where he didn't actually say very much or wasn't interviewed. Was that the only one, or was there one where he was interviewed before?
No, there was like 5 fans, a few from United, a few from Spurs, and it wasn't an interview per se, but it was just how you feeling in the build up to the game.
But one that I saw on Twitter that he posted like today, I think, or last night. I don't think he actually got asked a question, and I think was that the same, or was there one where he did get asked a question?
I can't remember, Sean. To be honest with you, there have been that many clips from so many content creators. I can't keep up.
No, Johnny fucking kept that. He's like doing a running vlog of his time on Twitter. He puts out something. I love how keen he is with his camera. It's fantastic. You know, me. I put the camera in my pocket. I was like, I don't want anyone to see any of me right now. So I'll put it away. Oh, he got asked. There you go. He got asked. The infamous on the fence interview. What was I'm not sure what that means.
Ryan Mason.
Yeah, the last time was Ange in or Ange out. I'm on the fence.
Oh right, yeah. Well, so you guys in terms of Ange right now, you're both Ange out, are you still?
I am. You know what? I want him out, but if he stays, I'm not gonna have a huge issue with it, just given what he's achieved. So rationally, we should sack him, but kind of if he does stay, fair play. I'd give him another year.
Another year though?
Not year, but
I got this horrible feeling.
Yeah,
that almost the same with Sonny. That I feel like there's no perfect time to leave the party, right? There's just a perfect time to say goodbye, if that makes sense. Like you never, even when you leave, you wish you didn't leave because you don't know what you're missing out on once you've gone. But if you stay until the party finishes, you're going to end up like in a room where it's full of people that are sloppy and all over the place. Trust me, I've been there more times than I care to remember. And you'll end up not remembering the party in the best vein, right? And so I just feel like it's not probably no better time for Sonny to depart than now.
Agreed.
And I'm so happy for him. And with Ange, I just fear that, you know, if he wants to play, people in the chat were saying like, oh, you know, there's two versions of Ange Ball. There's the cup version and the league version. Well, like, why do we do the league version that way if it's clearly not working? But the cup version is. Why can't you just be more like? I don't think that that's the case personally. I think that he's just realised that when it matters, Ange Ball is too aggressive and too open and too many vulnerabilities to it. So when it comes to knockout football, it's safer just to, by the way, use what I would call arguably the best back five in the Premier League. Like Arsenal have got two better centre backs, arguably on their day, but I think Pedro Porro is better than Ben White, and I sure as fuck think the Destiny Udogie is better than who's the left back at
Timber.
June Timber can play. He hasn't really proven himself yet, but you know, whether it's the Japanese fella or whether it's Kieran Tierney, whoever, right? Like they don't have brilliant fullbacks. And so I think that Tottenham arguably have got, when they use it correctly, look at Romero smashing us back the beers.
Calafiori is decent. Is he a left back for them?
Calafiori, yeah, he's a good player as well. I just say, like, you know, whatever, to take your pick, but I just think our back five, for sure as fuck, is not the 17th, you know, best back five in the business, in the league. So what we need to do is to use it better, which is obviously just common sense to make them sit a little bit deeper and be organised. But in the Premier League football, we don't do that. So, like, if we start next season and play defensive, but if we play, by the way, defensively resilient like we did over the last few cup games in the Super Cup, there's every chance that we could frustrate the life out of Inter or PSG and then pick them off.
You can't win that. According to our fans, you can't win that way. You can't play boring football. So you can't win no matter what you do. You play boring football, you win a cup, everybody goes, yeah, fantastic. Then you go out and you play gung-ho. Oh, we're shit, we're in the mud. You can't fucking please everyone.
You can't please anybody, mate, especially when the 85% of people that wanted him out on Tuesday are now wanting him to stay on Thursday. You know?
But I don't think that's systemic of just Ange. That's our fan base.
I think that's human nature, right? It's what come for me lately, you know? It's a psychological trap. But
you know what, lads? Like, my concern is, let's assume that Romero stays and doesn't leave. He has a chronic knee injury, I believe. Van der Ven has a chronic hamstring issue. Regardless of kind of tactics, we have injury-prone center backs who on their day are brilliant, but they might be missing 40% of the season or 50% of the season. So kind of that's my concern. That's the issue. If they're gone, if they're missing, what do we do? And that, you know, we have Danso and Dragoshin. Are they good enough? They're decent, but I don't know. That's my concern.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the money we've got now, let's pivot this. I don't know. Hang on a second. Sorry, not me. I didn't mean to get rid of me. Not yet. Anyway, let's get rid of that for a second because I've got no idea if I'm going to get a copy. I probably will, but whatever. I don't care. At the moment, I don't care. What do we like? The money that we now have to play with, right? Is if the chairman wants to, it's great, right? I said first of all, there's a lot of things that I said that manifested almost perfectly. I said it will be an absolute shit show of a game. I said it'll be it'll be either 0-0 or goes to pens, or it'll be a 1-0 Tottenham win. I also said, and I think this is going to happen, that Tottenham are going to have a new club's highest earner and/or a new club transfer record this summer. If one of those two things doesn't happen, I'll be fucking furious because we now have. Let's just not forget that last year's numbers, when we had the fewest games in Tottenham's history, we only fell 5% revenue from the year before when we got to the Champions League. Was it the quarterfinals or the last 16? Last 16 against Milan, and we defended a 1-goal loss, right? This year, we played the most games in Tottenham's history, I think, or close to it, must be. We've got all that extra additional revenue coming in from the prize money. We've got all the additional money coming in from the various non-match day events that have doubled. We get an extra 7 million quid from playing in the Super Cup, an extra 15 if we win it. Then if you do win it, like you've got future revenue locked up in the Club World Cup. That won't come through for a few years. But in terms of the club cash flow forecasting, big businesses cash flow forecast at least 24 months into the future and sometimes further out if they can figure out their guaranteed, right? So there really is no excuses, even though we've lost the 30 million quid on merit points or merit money from finishing 17th versus 5th. That's going to be gobbled up. And we go straight into the first tier as well in the Champions League, right? So we don't have to qualify.
We're seeded as well because we're Europa Cup winners.
Seeded, exactly. Seeded and straight in. No qualifying. We are in the Champions League. That brings in so much money and additional money from commercial corporate sponsors. Like, okay, we're £30 million down on what we would have been, but we're up probably £100 million on what we would have been because no one probably expected us to get into the Champions League this year. Now we're in it. With all that commercial guaranteed money, that we have to go big in the summer. And then there's players for the first time. There's players in our youth system. There's players on loan like Manor Solomon who are doing really well. There's players that are in our youth system that are on loan that might be deemed surplus to requirements. And we've already done all of the youth, like the centric rebuild that we don't need 15 players like we have done over the last 2 seasons. So we only need 5 players. We only need a striker, a left back, a 6, possibly a winger, maybe an all-round midfielder, and maybe a centre-back if you get rid of Romero. But I don't know. Does Romero still want to leave after a day like yesterday or a day like Wednesday, boys? Now, let's start with the outgoings. How much money can we realistically raise from players that we don't think are necessary anymore to put to whatever else money we're going to have to spend as well? And do you think that Romero is still going to want to leave as our kind of shining light in our defence? Do you think he still wants to go after what he's experiencing today and on Wednesday?
That's a tough call. I mean, look, he's going to be full of elation at the minute. But see, once all this dies down and you get into the silly season of transfers, right? Money talks, Sean. If Atletico came in and offered us 50 to 60 million and we have a ready-made replacement, Paratici's doing his 25 phone calls in the background, do you think Levy's going to go, nah, I don't want that?
I think that if we can convince Romero to stay, we should.
I think if you look at the players from Argentina, Brazil, I think they have no ties to the Prem, and I think their dream is to play for the big boys, whether it,
in Spain,
Italy or now Spain. And I feel like Romero now, he feels like he's achieved something that most players haven't achieved here, and I feel like he's just ready for the next phase of his career. So I still think he'll go, and I do love him on his day. But if we can get 80 million for him, and now I feel like we can increase the price, given what happened. So if we get 80 million and Danso, I think, like, I wasn't sure how good he is. I think he's pretty good. If we can invest that money on a top winger, on a creative player, because we could all tell without Maddison, it's shocking. We have no creative players. Nobody can pick that lock, right? So we need a creative player, whether it's Eze or whoever. We need a top winger. So if Romero leaves, that would be unfortunate. But if that money is spent on a top winger or a top six, I'm for it, because I think we can compensate.
The other one I can speak on, guys, is Dragusin. I don't think there's a place for him in the squad.
I'm not a fan, to be honest.
Of who? Sorry,
Dragusin.
He's not going to go anywhere. He's not going to go anywhere because he's out until half of next season, right? He's out for a long time, so you won't see Dragusin back until probably like November or something. So he's not going to go anywhere. Maddison's not going to go anywhere this summer because he'll fail any medical. So there's certain players that you won't be able to liquidate anyway. But like, I mean, there's certain players that. Oh wait, Micky Moore, right? 17 years old, Europa League winner with a medal, by the way. And Is that Njaya on the screen right now? I'm not sure who is that guy.
No, it's not Bess.
That's who?
It's not Bissouma.
No.
It's Bissouma, no.
No, there was Bissouma and Jed Spence were wearing ski goggles earlier, so I don't know.
That's not Bissouma, no. Chat, let me know. Is that Njaya? Who is that guy?
Njaya.
I might be Njaya. Scored a goal in his only performance. Hasn't played a Premier League minute, but he's a Europa League winner at the age of, what is he, 18? I mean, it is Njaya, yeah. Cool. Yeah. It's it's remarkable, right? Even so, by the way, the most shameless of all the things that I saw, Serge Reguilon, who hasn't played a minute he hasn't made the squad for the Europa League in either of the two squad build-up things, didn't play a minute of Europa League football, was second in line to get a medal on Wednesday night. Second in line behind Sonny. Behind I don't know who was the first one. Maybe it was Romero. But Romero, Sonny, and someone else had to wait, didn't they, to get their medals? Like they ran out of fucking medals. But like Serge Reguilon, shameless Serge.
Never mind that. Alfie Whiteman, he hasn't played a minute.
He got a winner's medal as well. Isn't there some like rule around how many minutes of participation you need to be able to get?
When I saw Timo lift the cup, what are we doing here? That was hilarious. So shameless. Timo Werner lifting a cup.
Yeah. I mean, look, but like I did say before, right? So there's the unknown of what winning can do to you, right? Look at these guys, these players are just being like frog marched through Tottenham, through North London, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. I'm surprised there's 600 people watching this on Twitter and on YouTube. I don't know how many people are watching on YouTube, maybe 300 people on YouTube. Guys, smash a like button if you enjoy it. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. And I apologize that I went all the way to Bilbao. I've spent more money on Tottenham in the last 2 months of my life than I probably have spent in the last 5 or 6 years. And basically, most of my memory of that last few days was my head around a toilet bowl. I can't believe I did it to myself, to be entirely honest. I'm only just now starting to shake off the cobwebs. I think I might have to go. I said this when I first walked through the door, because Bugsy's looked at me like I was like I deserted her. My mum's been here looking after her, and I said, she's like, "Do you have a good time?" I was like, "Not as good as I think I should have done, because I fucked it." And she went, "Did you drink a lot?" I went, "Yeah, too much." And she said, "Was it Sean of old? Was it party time?" I said, "Yeah." She's like, "Mate, what are you doing? You're too old for this. You're trying to live a young man's life, and you're not capable of doing it anymore." And I think that this might be a sliding doors moment in my life where you might end up seeing me be sober on streams for a month. I think this is I'm still on the sort of come down. So I'm drinking the last 2 bottles of cider in the fridge. You might from tomorrow see a sober Sean for a month or so until euthanasia. and then we'll see how I feel, Eugene. You know.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you drink a lot?
I used to drink a fair amount, given that I'm from Ukraine, but not recently.
Yeah.
Not recently.
I mean, Henry. I'll give you one. I'll give you one example. We get back to the hotel on Wednesday morning at like 7 a.m. or something, and I phoned down to reception, and I said, "Look, can we get the breakfast? Like, we can't come down to breakfast. Can you send some stuff up?" And they said, "No, we can't. The breakfast is only available in the main thing." I said, "Well, do you do room service?" And they said, "Yeah." And I said, "Can you get me like a bottle of red wine?" No, I didn't mean that for then. I just meant like I need a bottle of wine for later, right? I said, and a bottle of water. And then the guy didn't hear me correctly and said, "You want a bottle of vodka?" And then I went, "Yeah, that'll do. Get me that as well." So at 8:30 in the morning, the rat-a-tat-tat, and the door comes in, and I never got the bottle of water that Henry wanted. Instead, there was a bottle of red wine and a bottle of vodka delivered with 4 cans of Coke. And by the time Henry and I got back to the room at like 1 o'clock in the morning, he didn't realise, but I'd polished off half that bottle of vodka throughout the day, whilst also trying to I was like, if I just have one more shot, I'll fall asleep then, and I'll be able to get up in time for the football. Didn't work very well at all. So listen.
To be fair, sure, I done the same. I was away in Portugal last year with the guys for golf. And first night, you just go mad. You go completely apeshit. You wake up in the morning, you crack open a tinny, and you think, "Oh, it's all right, it'll cure me." See, by the end of the second day, you're dead. See, once you hit mid-30s, 40s, nah, gone. You can't do it.
I think I'll be out of this realm by the time I'm 50. If I was to carry on trying to pretend like I'm not getting old, you know, like the pains in the stomach are, they're telling its own story. So
yeah. So who do you think, Sean? Then, right, taking aside fringe players, do you think any of the core side will leave in the summer or look?
Look, there's so much to chew over, mate. There's so much to chew over. Like I've re-fallen in love with Bissouma. Right, I think Bissouma is that guy on the screen. Pedro Porro, by the way, is
10 out of 10 again.
I fucking love him. I've loved him since the moment he got. I met him after I went to the Tunnel Club and we got beaten by West Ham 3-1 last season, and I went hunting in the corridors of because the Tunnel Club leads back out to the dressing room. Right? So you're not supposed to be hanging around there, but I just act as if and walked around, and then Pedro Porro comes out and he didn't speak any or very little English, but he was gracious enough to kind of give me a picture and sign an autograph and that. And he was just a fucking legend of a guy. Despite on the back, there he is. There's Bissouma. Look at the state of him. Love him. But Pedro Porro for me is precious property, right? You don't let him go. For me, I think he's so unique. I look for players that are unique in their skill set, in their position. Do they offer things that are not easy to find? And can you utilize that unique specificity into and manifest it into ways that make the difference in certain games? And I look around our squad and I think that Pedro Porro is one of those people. He's not the perfect fullback. Certainly think he'd be a fantastic wing back if we were to pivot to a back three. But I think pivoting to a back three is never going to happen with Ange. It might happen if you go in a different direction. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, none of what we say makes any difference to the decisions of the football club, but the narrative has changed with regards to Ange, right? So there was Sami Mokbel, the ex-Daily Mail journalist, who seems to have climbed the ladder with regards to his access because he seems like he's the first on certain things at the moment. He used to be just someone that would put out spurious transfer rumors and all that stuff. But he said a week ago, it doesn't matter whether Tottenham win or lose, the decision to get rid of Ange is sort of done. And then this morning I see an article coming out from him saying that's not the case anymore, that the club are fairly far down the list of regards their potential replacements for Ange, but actually no decision has been made yet on whether or not on whether or not they want to keep him. And that to me is troublesome, right? Because I actually agree with Ange on his concept of you shouldn't think I'm a better manager because of what happened on Wednesday. I'm either a good manager in your eyes or I'm not. I'm either good enough or I'm not. And I don't think he is. And I think we put up with 2 years of hearing, as I said, a lot of people describe that they say it's not an excuse, it's an explanation, right? I'm not guilty of what you're accusing me of. So this is not an excuse why you think I've done wrong. This is an explanation why what I did was justifiable. You just don't understand it, right? There's a thin line between the two. And I think he works in the grey and leans us all towards explanations. But then when you're paying attention, you sit there and go, well, hang about, like, what are we doing here? You know, like, we only get a few minutes here and there with your comments every week, post-game, pre-match, post-game, whatever. And so I don't forget what he said last month. I don't forget what he said 3 months ago. I remember most of his commentary. I remember the things that he said to explain or to excuse or to justify this and that. And as I said 1,000 times, I think he talks out of both sides of his mouth. Well, the big one is it's who we are, mate. It's not who we were in the moment. It's not who we were when it counted. Why? And the club have to figure that out. And if they haven't figured it out already, this was a video that I spoke to you guys on the channel about, I don't know, 3 weeks ago. And I said that Vinny's coming in, but he's not here till June. Paratici's coming back, but he's not here till June. We can't wait until then. Right. Like, if the decision is to keep Ange, then so be it. If the decision is to get rid of Ange, then so be it. Right? But the decision should not hinder on what happens on the night, because, like, that's a coin flip. It's a coin flip of a game. You know, if Micky van der Ven doesn't make that unbelievable goal line clearance, or for what it's worth, someone pointed out on Twitter, the forgotten block by Romero that happened 5 seconds later.
Massive block, yeah.
Massive block. Or the Vicario, like, if that goes in, do you think Tottenham lift the cup? I don't. I think that the momentum swings entirely into United's hands, right?
We were so deep after about the 50th minute until the final whistle. I don't think you could have switched tactics that quickly to get a foothold back in the game.
100%. And we saw what Man United did against Lyon, right? They give them a sniff and they'll come back in and they'll... Wait, was that a light? Is that a vape?
I think it's a vape. Yeah.
Purple on the screen. Did you see that? Did you see that?
It was a lighter, yeah. I think.
Oh, wait, did you
see? If it's a lighter, it's not good. If it's a vape, it's not good.
Hey, it's Maddison. You know, it's...
Anything goes, Eugene. Did you see Jed, by the way, with a big stogie in the dressing room?
Yeah. That man likes a cigar. He's a man of a quiet taste, yeah. So, like, so Kiwi Spurs TV saying, yeah, but Ange motivated Micky to clear that. I'm not saying that the manager isn't responsible for what happens on the pitch, of course. Like, so the buck stops at the top for me in that regard, right? We've got a fourth person joining us. Lovely to see it. Look at him coming back. He's a little bit red in the cheek. Is that alcohol? No, it's not alcohol with Adam. He doesn't drink. How you doing, Adam? You sunburnt, mate? What's going on?
Just in from the gym, right? That's why I'm red-faced. I'm working off that one beer I had the night that we won the European fucking trophy.
Mate, I think your microphone's you're not setting up to the right mic. Okay. I think you need to get into your audio settings. Just to finish the point, though, yeah, I feel like sorry, I know the question was about outgoing players blame, but like I think all of that starts and finishes with you need to know what the decision on the manager is, because you know a manager, like, you don't want to like buy a player. You can't buy a player if you don't know who the manager is, right? So that decision needs to be made, and if Tottenham still haven't made their mind up.
By the way, is Paratici definitely 100% done? Because I've seen some rumors coming out that Saudi clubs are sniffing around him as well.
Wow. Here's what, when I say things are done, I'm 95% right on my record, not because I'm an ITK, not because I know things, just because I follow my gut, right? And my gut is it sits 2 feet in front of my nose, so like I can, if I trust it, it usually sends me to the North Star, you know. And I feel like I was, you know, whenever I say things are done, I think the only one I can't even. I mean, Nick Barryson will, if he wasn't at the thing today, he'd be telling me I was wrong about certain things. But most of the time, when I say things are done, they're done. And Paratici's done. He's coming back, right? He is coming back, and I just don't know whether or not the manager decision not being made yet. That kind of feels reminiscent of Daniel Levy's Tottenham of old, whereby you know he doesn't have a plan for the next phase until the next phase arrives. And that to me is not what we want right now. We need Daniel Levy to be front and center in some like prescient decision-making, because this is momentary, right?
Or are they just delaying until Vinny comes in and Paratici comes in and then make
too late, mate. That's just June, right? That's
too late.
Yeah. It's only next week.
And and that's my concern. Like Sean, when you talked earlier about Levy and if anything is going to change, my concern is, and I'm a sentimental guy, right? But at that level, if it is a sliding doors moment and if it's a critical window for us, you cannot be sentimental. No half measures, right? If we're going to wait until June to come up with a plan, it's too late. You see other clubs, Liverpool, Arsenal, they're signing players. They're going for it. If we're going to wait and we're going to waste 2 months of being indecisive, like that's going to set us back a lot. So I was hoping that before this game, a decision was made about the direction we're going to go in. So next week we can say, you know what, Ange, thank you, but now this is the plan. And I'm afraid that we haven't learned our lesson, and we're going to be just in the no man's land until June or July, and then we're screwed.
Adam, welcome back to the show, mate. I've just gone on a massive tangent because Blaine asked me a question about players that we can get rid of and make some money, which I think is
tangents.
Yeah, I mean, I hear someone ask me a question, like I heard what you said, but what you asked, but I'm actually going to answer it in a way that doesn't in anywhere near come close to your particular topic. I'm going to go off on what I wanted to say anyway. Now we'll swing back to the players out thing. We're just looking at the screen here. There must be 200,000 people there. 200,000 overjoyed. Look at them all, mate. It's fucking amazing to see.
Kills me not to be there.
God, I couldn't be there. So.
Yeah, kills me. I hope my uncle's there. I haven't given him a shout yet. We called him on the night. He was my uncle's the kind of guy who can't watch the match. He's just waiting for us to text him what's going on. He's so nervous he can't watch anything. But I hope he's there today enjoying it. Yeah, man. Like it's phenomenal. It still doesn't feel real to me. And like I'm approaching 40. I'm nearly 40, so I'm around long enough to have seen, to have had the opportunity to see Tottenham lift trophies before. But to be honest, I had so much going on in my life in those years that I wasn't giving it as much attention as I've given it over the last 15 years. So to see this now, it sort of feels it's very, very surreal for me. And the scenes, like those scenes, absolutely outstanding. It's phenomenal to see.
Well, do you think this is a bigger day for like people that are 15 years old, right, that have never seen Tottenham win a trophy? Or do you think it's bigger for people that are like, I don't know, my father's age, for example, that that saw a lot of success when they were my age, or Eugene or Blaine's age? I mean, Adam, we're about the same age. I'm a couple of years older than you, but like, do you think it means more to the people like the older crew who may not have too many, or they were wondering whether or not they would see something like this happen in there for whatever time they have left in this realm?
Yeah.
Or do you think it's very important for the youngsters to finally get something?
So Adrian versus us. Like Adrian's seen so much success.
Yeah. Well, I think when you have had success and then you've been deprived of it for so long, I think that's probably worse, to be honest, because like especially when like it's a combination of not having seen the club win trophies and also having seen us become the banter club, and you're like, that's not who we are. We are a big cup team. We are a big team, and we've seen us get incredibly close in the Harry Kane years as well, in the Poch years, and because of that, and then it falling through our fingers, the banter was just kind of really, really intense, and to know where your club came from and to see it fall from those heights, I think is probably worse than coming into it, never having won anything and always being in that limbo state. Like I've been saying for a very, very long time, we operate in that weird limbo between the actual, big clubs and everybody else. And we are neither at the moment. And we haven't been for a while, and maybe now we can start calling ourselves, a top team. We'll have to see what happens in the league next year. But, for the people who've been kind of living in the limbo, it's probably not as bad. It's probably just incredible to see a step finally into the, we are winners sort of category. Whereas if you've been in the winners category and you've fallen from those heights and then seen us be an absolute joke in the eyes of the majority of the public, it must be a huge weight off the shoulders. Like I said, my dad, my uncle, they find it so difficult to even watch the games because their nerves are that rattled by everything. So I think it's much, much bigger for them.
Just checking in on the poll. There's 400 give or take people that have voted. If you haven't voted yet and you're watching this, then please, especially if you're on Twitter, then get over to. I'm not sure if the Twitter poll won't be on, but the YouTube one is. it looks like 68% of people that have voted are Ange in, and 52% are on some level Levy out. So, I mean, I'd say that's. I mean, so to go run through it, 36% of the 400 votes are both in Levy and Ange after this. Ange out, Levy in is only 12%. Ange in, Levy out is 32%. And Ange out, Levy out is 20%. So 1 in 5 of you guys want there to be wholesale changes at the club from the management and the board. It looks like it's essentially split down the middle for Levy, but the overwhelming majority want Ange in after that. And I did a poll about this maybe, I think it was about 10 days ago from memories on one of the streams I did with Johnny and Henry. And I think it was about 65% were Ange out. Now, this channel isn't, I mean, Johnny obviously is very, very vehemently Ange out. I've swung that way over time, but I've always been, generally speaking, like I gave him the cups. And I think over time, though, I think I've sort of seen through the bullshit. But it's just amazing what success can suddenly do for fans, right? Like the momentary fan reaction is obviously massive. Look at these kids. I love that. Fucking love him. Look at that kid.
That's an
absolutely sensational. But like, this could be, as I say, like if everybody is sort of pivoting back towards Ange in because it's a game changer, can this be a game changer, guys, for the football club? Like it does the moment of the victory. Like look how everybody in the chat is like pivoting back towards fucking come on, unify, get behind what we have to a degree, maybe not so much for the owner, but get behind what we have with the team, give the guy what he needs, and then let's see, right? And is that a variation, like a different slice of the same argument pie that essentially is, you know, what could happen in the team, right? The team now believe, like I said before, I got sidetracked earlier. Ajayi, however old he is, 18, Europa League winner. Mikey Moore, one of our own, Europa League winner, not even 18 yet, can't even buy a beer, and he's already got a Europa League medal.
I bet he had a beer the other night.
I bet he did. Yeah. Lucas Berghvall, like that guy's going to be a superstar. Archie Gray, Europa League winner. Like, does this moment potentially change things in the hearts and minds? Because nobody, not Arsenal fans, not anyone else. Sorry, Adrian, Adam. I'll put my face down there so you can get on the screen. Does this potentially change the way that Tottenham are viewed within themselves and by other people? And no one can call us Spursy anymore. No one can call us, you know, the argument that, like, even Micky van der Ven said on his interview before I went live, he said on his interview, people told me not to come. When I was going to come here, people said, don't go to Tottenham, you'll never win a trophy. And he went anyway.
Can I ask a question, answer a question with a question? Let's say if we keep Ange next season and we finish 9th or 10th outside of Europe, other than kind of the sentiment of the fans, yes, we won a trophy, does that undo all the good that we've achieved this season by making it in Champions League? Kind of that's the question, right? If we finish 10th.
It's human nature.
Right, so that's kind of my question.
Reason why every year you get a new iPhone, right? It's because, you know, women are always trying to look younger. Men are always trying to look wealthier, look better, because it's the human nature of, you know, things are momentary. What have you done for me lately? I need to stay relevant. I need to stay in the forefront of whatever's going on because what's next? It's consumerism. Maybe the same thing doesn't exist in other parts of the world, other corners of the globe that are built on different principles. But our culture in the West is all about consume, work hard, sell your soul, 8 hours a day, come home, earn money, buy a nice car, buy a nice holiday, buy a nice player, buy a nice whatever, buy a nice stadium, build a nice trophy, all that shit. But this will be put to the back burner, in my opinion, if we start next season and we lose 5 of our first 10 games. You'll have the ecosystem of people that were Ange out yesterday but aren't today. They'll be saying, I told you so. They'll forget that they flip-flopped in the moment. They'll go back to what they were saying. And then all that 85% that were Ange out 3 days ago that are now Ange in, they'll walk straight back across the Oki. Just like all those people that were marching against Daniel Levy 2 months ago after the Liverpool game, they will march straight back across the Oki right now. If Change for Tottenham did a protest on Sunday against Brighton, 50 people would turn up.
I mean, defense are fickle, but if we just look at the club, at where we want to be, like we talked about before, regressing next season, and potentially, if we finish 9th, 10th, 11th, that would undo the momentum and kind of a lot of good that this win gives us. Forget defense for a second, right? Fans go back and forth. Just where the club is. That's why, as we talked about, it's critical for us to kick on and not just make this a one-off season and just go back to fighting for Conference League, right?
Yeah. Just super quick, Tony. I've seen you've had like 20 comments that seem to be going after me, bro. I'm not sure what it is I'm saying, mate. I'm just we're just having a discussion here about human nature, the psychology of how people work. I'm not saying that I'm manager. I personally think that the guy isn't a good enough manager to handle multiple fronts. But I don't want us to fail to be right. That's absolutely not the case. Absolutely not the case. Like I said, if I always said, if Daniel Levy decides to keep him, should he win, then on a meritocracy basis, I would understand it. Totally understand it. Do I think it? Not that it matters what I think, because they don't make decisions. And fucking thank God they don't make decisions based on what the fans want, because the fans don't know what they want. But I don't personally think that he's good enough. But
is it really such a bad thing if either he was to walk or we were to let him go? I don't understand why it would be seen as such an awful thing, considering that he came, did what he intended to do. I know he says that he can do more. That's very speculative. But if he left now, could we not just see it as like this tiny season where we had something amazing that ended in victory, and then we can try and use it as a platform to go forward? But does Ange not being part of it suddenly mean that we haven't learned our lessons, or I don't understand the issue of what it does to Ange. Ange gets to walk away, and can I say as well, I also think that the very same thing, like Sonny has led us to the very first cup that we've had in 17 years, and by led I mean like he wore the armband, but he should walk off into the sunset now. He should absolutely walk off into the sunset with his head held high. That should be like that game should be the last thing he ever does for Tottenham, and he will be forever cemented. There should be a trophy built of him outside, right? And if we're going to say that, if I can say that about Sonny confidently, I don't see any reason why we can't say, look, thank you very much, Ange. We can remember you with the highest esteem. People should definitely stop calling him a clown. It's ridiculous to be in any way disrespectful to the man who brought us the first trophy in 17 years, to a man who's one of the most successful managers that we've ever had, technically, right, on paper, regardless of
he's definitely the most successful in 2 generations.
Yeah, exactly. And regardless of whether you want to say we had an easy run in the Europa League, I don't care. He got it done. He got the job done, right?
100%.
So let him go away on a white horse in a suit of armor, right? I give him all the esteem and the credit that he deserves. But nobody should be giving out about the idea of letting him go being the best thing. Let's call this the end of an incredible project. And we've got something else that we've got to do going forward, because continuing the way I completely back what you're saying, Sean, in terms of Ange had the ability to grab onto one trophy and give us that. And if that's what we want going forward, finish 16th, 17th and grab a different trophy next season, maybe the FA Cup, then okay, if that's what you want, grand, you're entitled to that opinion. But there's also the possibility of us, if we want to be like the Liverpools, the Manchester Cities and so on, then I think we are going to need somebody else, because I don't think Ange, as you said, Sean, I don't think he has the ability to operate on multiple fronts.
You just segued into the point that I was going to... Sorry, Sean. I was just going to say, do you think this is amplified amongst our fans even more? And I'd love to hear from the comments section and from yourselves on this. Do you think it's even harder now to make a decision as a fan because it's the Europa League? If we won the League Cup but didn't win the Europa League this season, do you think there'd be as many people flip-flopping? Honest opinions, because I don't think...
I think the League Cup is harder to win than the Europa League, right? I genuinely do. I think that...
No, there's fewer games, Sean. There's only, what is there, 6 games to win the...
Yeah, but the quality of the opposition. We had to be Coventry, then United. No, Coventry, City, United, then Liverpool twice, right? We won that first game against Liverpool by not doing Ange ball. and then Liverpool, obviously that was just a bridge too far, right? But like in terms of the only team that we beat in the Carabao Cup that wasn't as good as some of the teams we've beaten in the Europa League was Coventry.
Yeah, but so, like Liverpool was the only team that we came up against that were,
and Manchester City.
Yeah, but we beat them. And this is the point. Like we have it in us to be able to get through 6 games and pick up a trophy. You know what I mean? Like, I think that like under a different manager who prioritizes better. You know, he didn't play the same way. We all know he did not play the same way in the Europa League as he played in every other competition. And it's madness when you think about, like, he says, he made a point of saying in one interview, it's a different thing when it's about you've got to win that individual game to go to the next game. But it's the same fucking thing in every competition. Wins are what gets you to where you're going to get in the end. So he should be doing the same thing. The strategy that wins is the strategy that you should be adopting for every single game. There may be a difference in terms of the personnel you field if you need to rest people in the league or whatever, but every single game should be about winning that game. That's the reason, you know, you see people like Jose Mourinho with his policies that are really ugly and you don't like watching their football, but he's like, well, this is going to win the match though. So, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any, like, anyway.
Okay, but would you be okay if we played the version of football that we're playing? Because half the reason why, I mean, I was one of them, right? I said, and obviously, like, you know, it didn't work out the way that I wanted it to look in the league form, but generally speaking, like, I think that it is the style of football that you participate in, it does matter. It is important. Like, I wouldn't want Sam Allardyce or Alan Kirbishley to come and shithouse it every week, even if we won. You know, if we won the league, I tolerate it once or twice because it's the league. Obviously, it's a massive deal. Just like I'll tolerate this season because it's 17th and this is what it's all about. But would I tolerate? You know what? Let's see if I can turn the noise up for a second here. I'll shut up for a second and see if we can hear what he's got to say. Can you guys hear that?
Yeah.
I told them and they didn't believe.
He's pissed.
But here we are. And we're here because of this unbelievable group of people, players, staff, absolute heroes, led by the legend, Heung Min. Romero, James Maddison, and Vicario. All of them heroes, and they did it all for you because you deserve it. This club deserves it. And I'll tell you something, I'll leave you with this. All the best television series, season 3 is better than season 2.
Okay, keep him. I'm all in. Keep him.
What a fucking salesman, man. What a fucking salesman.
I'm back.
Shawnee, your mic's off.
He's staying. He is staying.
Keep him.
You have it right there, folks. Ange Postecoglou is staying at Tottenham Hotspur. You don't say that and get sacked tomorrow morning. Ange Postecoglou is staying at Tottenham Hotspur.
I'm back on the bandwagon.
What a salesman. Honestly,
like, for sure. He could sell me any car he wants. I'm back.
Yeah, I'm back. No, yeah, fuck it. Yeah. No, he's got the words in the right order, bro. He's got the words in the right order. Wowzers. I'm going to be a believer. I'm a believer.
There's going to be, by the time he is finished, there's going to be a book of Ange quotes, and they're going to be the best sports quotes in the history of time. I always win in my second season. Season 3 is better than season 2.
Fucking hell.
Sean, you know, come across. You ever heard of a book called The Secret? It's all these mad inspirational. Eugene knows what I'm talking about. There's going to be one from Ange. Ange's Secrets.
Secrets, mate.
But I mean, is like, I can't believe Daniel Levy, after hearing that, he's not going to sack him on Sunday. No chance.
No, I sack him on Monday.
I mean, to be fair, if we use that analogy, season 3 is usually worse than season 2. It goes season 1 is the best, then 2 is worse. But I get what he's saying. I'm all in. That's it. And
Back
Depends
on.
on
We
the
back on. We back just when they thought I was being pulled out. They get me back.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
Look. After listening to that, it's like he's given us an incredible segue to think about. Does like it? So with the notion that he's staying, is there a possibility that he can do something on multiple fronts if he's backed now to the tune of a few hundred? You know, we need to.
You're not going to get 300 million, right? But
well, you don't
are.
know. You're not going to get 300. You might get 200. You might get 200 because the thing is,
including sales, I reckon.
Right,
this is
but
here's
the thing. I already said this. Son Heung Min should ride off now on a steed, honestly, because if he finished with the best ending of all time. And I will cry when he walks away, but I will probably be miserable if he stays because he's just not the player he used to be. If he were to go to Saudi now, it would be the greatest gift he could ever give to us because you'd probably get 80 million for him. Do you know what I mean? Like they would drop.
I don't think you get that much, but you'd get far more than you'd get if you went back to
exactly.
Germany.
It would be the best gift he could ever leave us with on top of the trophy. It would be the icing on the cake. So you have 100%. The Champions League money, you have the Son Heung Min money. Then you get about 10 million each, maybe maximum per player. If you get rid of, obviously, we're going to get rid of Reggie. We're going to get rid of who else would you say is going to go?
Brian Hill,
Richalison. Hopefully.
Brian Hill. I don't think Richalison necessarily. I don't think necessarily anymore. Not after what he did. Not after what he did in that game.
Yeah.
Is Romero going to stay?
Nah, he's gone.
It depends on if he's as susceptible as we are to the Ange salesmanship. Do you know what I mean? If Ange gets in his ear and he's like season 3, mate, you know what I mean? I can imagine that there's a potentiality that he can be convinced. Maybe. It also does depend on he's going to go play
25, isn't
he? He's still young. He's going to go play some international games now, though, and he could end up getting injured, and then no one's going to buy him. So you know that could end up spelling.
It depends who calls for him, right? If it's Real, he's gone. Anybody would leave. If it's Atleti, then it's like maybe.
Can
maybe.
Do we have 200 million in us if we don't sell Romero? I think we do. I think if we sell Sonny. And if we have the winnings,
you can sell. So let's go through it, right? Let's go through it. I think you're not going to be able to sell. Not that I'm invoking or evoking that we should, but you're not going to get any money. You couldn't sell like Dragusin, right? Because he's injured and he's out for the summer, so he's not going to pass any medical. You're not going to sell Maddison. Not that I think we should, but he's out for the summer, so we wouldn't pass the medical.
Right.
Bissouma. I'd sell Bissouma.
Bissouma, although here's the rub with Bissouma. I've been saying it for ages, and I maintain this. Bissouma makes Bentancur a better player. Bentancur plays so much better in that sort of more advanced double pivot, whatever we're going to call it, 6s, 8s, whatever. He's far better. I think
we don't want to keep two of them, though, do we?
Bentancur playing in a dropped role with Berghvall in front. Berghvall thrived, but I don't think Bentancur he's got I think the difference between a 6 and an 8 is that a 6 looks for the threats and 8 looks for the opportunities. And I think that Bentancur's DNA is an 8, right? So he's not worried about the threats like he should be when we have the ball, but it's up at the other end of the pitch. He's not touch tight to the midfielder in the rest defense. He can be sloppy, and I think that sometimes it's not. We don't always, when we lose the ball in transition, we don't always get pinged over the top. Sometimes it comes through the middle, and it's problematic because he's not touch tight to the guy who's 10 yards away from him, who he should be. If you're playing the 6, or if you're playing that midfield role, someone's in the chat saying, "I'll back you." Okay, Blaine. I just think that if you're going to get rid of Bissouma, then you need to replace him with someone better,
with a 6, with the real 6, because Bissouma. My issue with him is he has all the talent in the world, but just like Maddison, he's too inconsistent. If we want to be consistent in all competitions, we need players who are consistent.
So if we have 200 million and then we can drop it on a spine, so we drop it on a striker, which actually the striker is going to be free, right? If we do get Jonathan David, we're getting a striker on a free.
No, it's not a free transfer, is it?
Well, you know what I mean. I mean, it's going to obviously you pay extra for the agents' fees and all that kind of crap, but like it's less than you'd be paying if you were actually forking out for him. So we get Jonathan David. So you bring in another midfielder, another centre back, probably someone to cover Udogie. Is that enough for us enough for us to be able to compete on all fronts? Then
we need a top winger. We need somebody who we can
Is
rely
Cherky
on game in,
exciting?
game out to create. We just don't have that person. Like,
Cherky, is he exciting?
oh, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
So we get
Like-
Cherky.
Like if you just look at at the game, the only way we could score was Johnson. Like, I didn't have faith in anybody else to actually score. We just need somebody, a top player, who we can
If we can
rely
get,
on.
imagine if you
Cherky
can
did.
keep Romero, right? If you can keep Romero, and you can go and bring in a Gahey, because you know that I think who was it? You? I mean, I don't care. Insert anyone of that kit. I don't. I'm not a huge fan of Gahey, but that's maybe just my stubborn old archaic.
No, I'm
take.
the same.
Yeah, okay. Well, so someone like him, whatever, someone of that quality. But you know that Van der Ven's got a hamstring injury. I know you said it earlier, Eugene, right? He's a constant recurring hammy, and even Romero's also 60% fit most of this, like for both seasons. So even if you could keep Romero, you still need to go and get a top draw centre back that, in an ideal world, can come in and play on the left or the right. And in an ideal world, in an even more ideal world, is ambipedal, right? That can sit there and play off the left or play off the right and doesn't cut back in. And because I do think you should. People say it's irrelevant, but I think that a right foot on the left hand side creates an imbalance in the model. We've got someone else joining us. David H. is making his debut on the channel. Let me get rid of the screen for a second. David H, mate, how are you, buddy? It's been a while since I've been asking you to come on. I know you asked a while ago, and we had a little tiff on Twitter about a year or so ago, mate. But that was all based on me being a donut and listening to other people. But mate, how are you, buddy? Good to see you, mate. Good to see you.
Can you hear me okay?
Can hear you loud and clear, boss. How you doing?
It's very early. It's 4:48, but I've been just watching the parade and stuff like that here in Sydney, Australia. Obviously, with time zone differences and that, the game was on at 5 a.m. Thursday morning. I watched it with my oldest, and the last time we won a trophy, my oldest was in his cot. I had to celebrate. I had to celebrate like Marceau in the middle of the night at my home, so I didn't want to wake the baby up. Whereas this time, I'm not afraid to deny it. At full time, there was tears from the both of us, and when we lifted the trophy as well. So
I am the only person who's dead inside. Everyone else cried, and I'm dead inside. I don't cry about things that I don't control. So,
no, I mean, let's not get all Freud early in the morning and all this. We're not getting the cycle. I mean, it's just as you can tell by the grey hairs. I mean, I was there in '84, which was the most amazing night. And I went to school and I couldn't speak for a week because my throat was gone. Tony Parts, penalties and all that kind of stuff. So I do think, and it's something that I've always argued, that even though people get snooty about, if we win the Freehandle Cup and things like that, you see the scenes now live, you see all the scenes around the world. This is something that brings players and the supporters together wherever you are.
Yeah.
This is what it's about. So with all the you guys as well, you can't bottle this feeling. I mean, obviously it's been so long, and we've had so many near misses and frustrations. But as I said, I live in a block of apartments here in Sydney. I got a WhatsApp message on the apartment block group saying, "Can you stop screaming?" At 6:12 a.m. I got a message. Can you stop screaming? And it's been fantastic. And you can't really put words into it. So I went to work on Thursday.
Oh,
Can't hear you anymore, mate.
Lost you. You've gone off, mate. You've gone off. You're on mute. Something's going on. Just quickly, whilst we're waiting for David to get... Are you on mute, mate? Just click the unmute button on your computer. You should come back in. Just quickly, guys, we've got... I took the end of that poll was 64% wanted Ange in. And there was a bunch of this sort of the Levy thing maybe was a bit of a segue. So I've just rebalanced it. Let's go straight into Ange. Ange, are you happy Ange expects a season 3? Yes or no in the chat. Hit the poll up and let's see what everyone's saying. Sorry, David, carry on with your take, mate.
Yeah, no, I mean, so I ended up obviously going to work Thursday morning. I had my retro. My boss is a good guy. I mean, despite the fact he's a Chelsea fan. and he said to me, "You can wear a Spurs shirt. You can wear a Spurs shirt to work today." I worked in an office, but I turned up my retro Tottenham tracksuit top, my scarf, and I kind of did a lap of honour around the office before I put them on. Before I hung up.
David, just pause for 2 seconds, mate. Because I think Eugene's got a jump. Have you, Eugene? Is that true, mate? Thank you, mate. Love having you, buddy. Love having you on. See you soon, mate. Thanks for coming on, boss.
Awesome.
Take care.
Thanks for talking to you.
Come on, you Spurs. Sorry, David.
Yeah, no. So I did a lap of honour around the office. There is a gooner in the office. Every office should have one. And yeah, exactly. And so he's been hearing from me. Look at those things. You can't bottle that. This is what it's all about.
There must be 200,000 people there. It's madness. You know, it's madness.
My brother's there, and my brother's there, and my niece is there. And I've got some friends of mine who are at the stadium on Thursday night, and then he got pictures of them on the pitch. It's amazing that they all went on the pitch. I know it's a bit naughty and all the rest of it, but you know, it's a spot. I mean, I think the announcer said we've got Brighton on Sunday. Can you get off the pitch? And who cares? I mean, who cares? Who cares?
Can't give a fuck about Brighton.
Correct. Who cares? Just give them the 3 points. Give them the 3 points. They'll be all coming up on their Vespers from Brighton anyway, and they're dressed like a mod, and they can have a nice time, and we'll have a nice time as well.
Yeah.
My wife's going to have a go at me, but I'm definitely buying that jersey. No doubt about it. Winners 25.
Yeah. I mean, DHgate, you get it for 12 quid.
Let's because I always like to think about what's next, right? So we've tried to answer this question 1,000 times, but there are players that are surplus to requirements in this squad. We know Serge Reguilon, for example, second in line to get his winner's medal. He didn't play a minute in the Europa League. The shameless audacity of it. He's going to be going on a free transfer.
Well, sure. No, Sean, you can say that Serge Reguilon is our David May. If you remember David May in the 99 Champions League final, that's his role.
Yeah, but he played minutes. He got minutes, didn't he, David May?
Who knows? I'm
pretty sure David May earned his. I'm sure there used to be a rule that in order to get a winner's medal, you had to actually participate. You know.
I'm surprised one of us didn't get a winner's medal. We participate as much as Serge Reguilon.
Yeah. Who's that geezer? He looks just like Rodrigo Benson, or is that his brother, or is someone in the backroom stuff? I'm not sure. Richalison, let's move to him. Is he someone that we can expect to go out on a swan song? He's waving there. Is he waving goodbye, or is he waving to say just wait until the Pigeon's back next season? Let's be honest. His goal scoring record for Tottenham in terms of minutes played
is outstanding.
Not horrendous at all.
I've been backing Pombo for forever, as you know, Sean. I don't want to see him go anywhere. Yeah,
I just don't think he does enough, and I think he's injured too much. And I think that I think he goes back to if he goes back to Everton, I think it's good. Like Everton would love him back. He's a guaranteed starter. He'll get himself in the Brazil team for the World Cup, and I think that there's probably 15, 20 million quid or something you can get back from that, and that goes into the kitty. I just think that we need a forward, but you can't really. He won't be happy if he's playing third fiddle to someone else, right? And then you've got all these other players that are coming through. We don't know what Will Lancashire is looking like. So just start with Will.
He played on the left though, playing off the left flank. He was dynamite the other night. He was doing better defending than Udogie. He was absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, he's not. There's no doubting that he's a massive team player, and he cares more than most for sure. At least it's visible. But look, we're competing on the Champions League level next year. Is he Champions League value?
No, he's not.
Not for me.
It's the injury record. I mean, he had a bit of an. I didn't realise it, but at Everton, he had a bit of an injury record there as well. And I'm not one of those people who kind of flip flop. I was delighted when we signed him because I wanted us to buy established Premier League players. Like in the olden days, we'd get players from clubs lower down the table. And we get them in. Yeah, I think we probably did overpay. I mean, I think that was the Bill Kenwright, Daniel Levy deal at the Ivy. But at the end of the day, I think the injury record and his inconsistency, I think he's best where you get a decent cross into the box. That's where he does it best because he doesn't have to think about it and he's good in the air. But unfortunately, his injury record means unfortunately he should go.
By that qualification, you'd need to get rid of a number of our players that you'd never want to get rid of. You'd want to get rid of Romero. You'd want to get rid of Micky van der Ven. Those two are going to be out for half a season every season, probably. Do you know what I mean? Almost certainly. So I wouldn't use that as a criteria. There's no harm in having someone better than. I'm not saying play Richie in the first team, but I don't think Richie'd want to go anywhere if he was told you're going to be playing second fiddle to somebody else, either on the left wing or as the number 9. I think he'd still want to stay. And I like, there's no sense in getting rid of him when he's, you know, as Sean said, like the goals per minute, and then the display he put on the other night with the defensive work that he does when he's playing on the wing. I think it'd be madness to get rid of him, especially when you're like, it'll be different. I could probably deal with losing him if you were selling him on for the same fee or for more, and you were bringing in an incredible kitty, but you're not going to get that. I don't think that the money that you'd get for him is worth losing him off the bench.
Well, but we're trying to figure out a way to get to that £200 million, Adam. And
Sonny to Saudi. That's got to be the way.
But even Sonny to Saudi, most you're going to get is 35, 40 million.
I'd say you get a bit more than that.
Well, I think Romero's going to go in the summer. So what we're going to get for him? 60 to 80?
Oh, you won't get 80 million. No chance.
When you're going to, but you know, he's done a great.
I made an impassioned plea on this stream maybe like 6 weeks ago, trying to figure out the valuations of these players, and I said 70 million quid tops, but I still think that's reasonable considering he's a World Cup winner, future Europa League winner. You know, he's played in 5 finals and he's won them all. The guy's an absolute winner.
The price went up after the other night. So
he's got a year left in his contract, doesn't he? So
he's got 2 years
left in his contract. Sorry, yeah.
He's got 100 million.
That's not a bad point, actually. Yeah, you could get. Actually, on that basis, sorry, I was working on I forgot it was 2 years. I don't even remember why it was that I was convinced by the chat to bring my number down. I think it was just because I think we were arguing about it for like 25 minutes about semantics of like 5 or 10 million. I was like, for fuck's sake. If I just say 60, can everyone just get on board it? And eventually everyone's like, yeah, okay, 60. But there were people in
the mob, Sean. What are you doing?
Yeah, I know. But I just wanted to progress because I had like 12 players to go through. And we would be going for 2 hours and we hadn't got past the second man. So like
he's worth 100 million, mate, honestly. Like Romero was absolutely
Daniel Levy's never going to sell him on the cheap just because he wants to go, right? But
exactly.
No. What are we saying? So we're saying, should we say 75 million then?
Yeah, if you want to get this 200 together, he's going to be 7. So we've got 70 million.
Don't forget as well, when we get Timo Werner off the books, that absolute disgrace. That's serious. He's one of the highest paid players, and like that's in terms of the wage bill. The wage bill is getting a serious clear out with him gone.
Yeah,
it is. 160 grand a week, isn't it?
Well, we'll come to the wages in a little while because there's no worry there. That's why I've been saying forever. Daniel Levy can't continue to do this forever. I think that the whole narrative of the 42% thing was opportunistic by Levy outers to look at any particular rationale to be, you know, this is the new stick, right? The new hit thing. And but there was so much misinformation in that regards, like, for example, that we lost 6 players that were all earning top money. We pivoted to a youth-centric approach. The Tanguy and Ndombele money wasn't factored into the cost, but it was factored into the savings. All of that shit. So it was like it's a fake number. It still doesn't mean that there's not a massive amount of wiggle room, but the number that everyone's pointing around is a fake number. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as I remember getting on debates with people on other channels, like Lubo. Shout out to Lubo, I love him to pieces. But he's like, he goes on these rants about numbers, and then it was on the day that the Tottenham's accounts came out, right? So I went on to Savage channel, and I'd missed the first half an hour, and he'd been like talking about the numbers for the first half an hour. And as soon as I came on, I went, Lubo, you talk such a load of shit about this stuff, mate. Let me explain to you a couple of things here that you're missing out on. And as soon as I did that, and he didn't have an argument, he went, Sean, we're not accountants. This is a football club. I was like, well, what have I been listening to for the last half an hour? You don't get to use that after you've just been banging on about money for the last anyway. So yeah, like the wages issue is certainly something we can expect to ramp up, which is why I'm really optimistic that now we're in the Champions League. Now we've got the monkey off our back that players can come here and win medals. Mm-hmm. And we've got the money, which we can figure out in a second. But there's no reason why we can't attract the best players because we do have the wiggle room in our wage bill to be able to go for it. If Daniel Levy decides to grab the bull by the horns here, which is what we've been waiting for a long time, and go, you know what, now's the time to pounce. Because I understand that 5-6 years ago it was difficult, but there's no excuse right now. There's none. So
what about let's live in, we're in dreamland at the moment, Sean.
Yeah, dreamland.
Can we do this in a way that finances 3 top peak ready to go players and pay them 250 grand a week each? We've got the wriggle room to do that. Yeah.
So three top draw and two like 5 players, you know, and 2
3 top draw and two Gray, Berghvall. So three
It doesn't even have to be youngsters, but just like players that are
I want three. I want three mid to late 20s coming in at their peak, 250 grand a week, whatever the transfer fee is. Not ridiculous transfer
like an
fee.
Eze, like a Gahey, and like a Jonathan David, for example. Something like that.
But what I would do, Sean, I'd hire a massive Uber, send it down to Selhurst Park, and put in Gahey, Wharton, Eze, and if Mateto fancies it.
No, because we're getting Jonathan David anyway. Forget Mateta.
Jean-Philippe Mateta. Everyone is like, he's the shiny new toy. The same people that like, I love Henry. Right, Henry, you're still watching, mate. Yeah, I'm calling you out on this one, bro. I know. Fair play to Henry because he came on my channel and said, "Future FA Cup winner Jean-Philippe Mateta," and I was like, "Oh, shut up!" But he was right. He was right. But Jean-Philippe Mateta is just this season's version of Dom Solanke, right? So. We don't know.
Yeah, but I think the Bournemouth manager is this year's flavour of the month. Actually, I mean, anyone who loses a 2-goal lead against us, deserves to be able to.
I don't want Iriola. If you look into what Iriola did at Valladolid, there's loads of fucking shockers in that tenure. So like, I just think he's another guy there's a hell of a lot of long line of managers, boys, who did very well taking a team that's expected to finish 15th and takes them to 8th, and everyone thinks that they're the bee's knees, and then they get their next chance and they end up flopping. The manager that came closest to getting his chance at a bigger fish in a bigger pond or whatever, and then almost did it but didn't quite, was Pochettino. Everybody else has had that same journey, has failed miserably, right? So
anyway, with this, these three players,
okay, So let's get for the money raising first, right? So we're saying 75 million for Romero.
Yeah.
How much are we saying Richie can go? I know Adam doesn't want him to go, but on a consensus basis, chat, let me know. What are we saying? 20 million for him?
15, 20?
25.
Yeah? 25 million for him?
Yeah.
So that's 100 million.
Done.
Sonny, 25, 30 million to Saudi.
Are we all agreeing are we all agreeing to sell Sonny right now?
Definitely, yes.
I just think it's the right time to buy
out.
He goes down as a legend.
Yeah.
Couldn't be better time for him to leave. He go out on a high. And imagine the alternative. He stinks up the place over the next year, and then he goes out like Hugo Lloris. I mean, like you want him to go out on an absolute high.
Yeah. I'm enjoying this lack of sentimentality here.
Yeah,
I'm a nostalgist. I'm a nostalgist. I'm a nostalgist.
This is the ruthless crew.
I will cry now.
We're winners.
Yeah,
I will cry, but you know what? I'll be crying 30 million pound tears. So
this is what I like. This is what I like to hear. I've been accused on Twitter of not deserving Sonny for daring to say that he's peaked for the last couple of years. So I'm a nostalgist, but I'm not a sentimentalist. There's a difference.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be blind.
This is music to my ears at 5:05 a.m. on a Saturday morning.
Mate, I was brutally abused on Twitter after the last game. Was it Palace when I said if Sonny starts in the final, it's the biggest disgrace to meritocracy and the biggest disgrace to football. He's not ready. Oh, no, sorry, it was the Aston Villa game. It was the Aston Villa game. Right? I was like, he was brilliant that day. I was like, he fucking wasn't. He was spoon fed like a baby getting the aeroplane spoon treatment, and I was like, and he didn't do anything. When the push comes to the shove, and I'm so glad that Ange didn't start him because that tells me that guy doesn't worry about that sort of shit either. He wants to get the job done, right?
Yeah, it's the Aussie way, mate. It's how we do it in Sydney, mate.
Right.
And Melbourne.
You cut them down just when they don't expect you to. Right?
Correct.
Okay, so we're saying Sonny's gone. Let us know in the chat, guys, if you disagree with any of this. So Sonny's gone for like 25-30. Richarlison's gone for 25-30. Romero's gone for 75. That gives us 130. Anybody at Bissouma? Are we saying that Bissouma's time to go? Boss Bissouma? Good time to bow out for him? If he leaves right now, will people remember him fondly?
Yes.
And so will his transfer market value. It's gone up.
Who is better for us to lose though? Bentancur or Bissouma if we're only getting rid of one?
Bentancur is apparently in talks already to extend his contract. So I think it's this.
But are Atletico sniffing around for him and Romero?
They ain't got the money for both.
No.
But if they did, 120 million, and we'll have a conversation there, Mr. Simeone or whoever it is who's running your club these days. You know? I don't mind. But yeah, so okay. So I don't think Bentancur's going. For me, I just think that Bentancur works. He doesn't work in the 6. So like, you need a 6 to come in. And
we'll talk about 6 in a minute.
If you need a 6 to come in and Bentancur doesn't work in the 6, then you need to keep Bissouma. And then if Bentancur is going, you still have plenty of players for the 8 because you have Sarr, you have Berghvall, right? We have players that can play in the 8. So I'd say
we've got a million 8s. We've got a million 8s. No, I'd sell Bissouma. No, I'm selling Bissouma. He's consistently inconsistent.
Who do you have in the 6 then?
Because
we're going to come to the buys in a minute. We're going to play the buy game.
We've got
Archie Gray. There you
go. Don't worry. The Uber going down to Selhurst Park will solve all your problems.
Adam Wharton. I
know you're going for Adam Wharton. I know. Yeah. But
just quickly before we go any further, guys, just quickly, there's a couple of super chats. Moondog, mate, member. I think you're my longest. You are my longest member. I think you've been a Spurs Talk Show puppy for 35 months, mate. That's 3 years. Unbelievable stuff. Considering I only got monetized 3 years ago, then so you've been there from day one, mate. Thank you so much for your support, mate. We are the champions. What a great feeling. Come on, Spurs. Appreciate you, Moondog. Love you, my man. And Moose City, love that, mate. I haven't seen you before. I don't think. If I have, then I apologize. But very grateful for the donation. Coys, Angie's aura farming at this point. Fucking love that. It's good for your aura. I was told by someone when I lived in Australia. I was told by someone who was a spiritualist that I had a hole in my aura.
Well, you didn't cry. Well, hang on. He or she was right because you didn't cry at full time.
It's all the
yeah. Listen, well, it's true, mate. I'm a broken man. You know, so there's so many things I can't share with you people yet. I don't know you well enough.
Hey, by the way, did you find your senorita? That's more important.
I didn't find any senoritas out. out in. I didn't have the chance. I was hugging a toilet seat for most of the trip. So there was no senoritas, and there was no brasses or anything, guys. Just so you know, there's none of that stuff. It's all joking about. Thank you very much, Moose City. And mate, Blaine, you don't have to do this, bro. You don't have to do this, mate. Thank you so much, though. 10 Spurs Talk Show memberships gifted out, guys. We're going to be doing a lot. I keep saying this, but then whenever I do them, no one ever wants to come on and talk. But I am going to be doing more and more phone-in shows because we've got so much. This summer's going to be fucking brilliant as a Tottenham fan. We've got so much to talk about. It's never going to be shameless enough on this channel. This Jesus Christ is going to be linked himself to take in the 6 role. 3 6s, because he's going to come in there and turn it from the devil into the angel that he is. And I know, Adam, my man, you are a fan of the faith. So we're going to... by the way, we're getting back on those conspiracy reckonings on Sean Butler TV very soon as well. But thank you, Blaine. You're an absolute fucking legend, mate. You don't need to do that, especially when
it's your channel, mate. It's for your members. Love to see it, bro.
You're a fucking legend. Make sure you say thank you if you're one of the recipients on the.
By the way, Sean, congrats on 30K.
Oh, thank you, mate. Appreciate that. Yeah. It happened like I think one of my old shorts, because shorts sometimes pop off. But I put a video up of like a Decky goal from like a year ago, and it just started like at like 0, 100, 200, 300, and I forgot all about it, and then it just jumped up to like 150,000. It must have gone viral in like Sweden or something a couple of weeks ago because it just went mad, even though it was completely out of date. I don't know how the whole shorts things work. Anyway, Blaine, thank you very much, man. I appreciate you. So you're a fucking legend. Right, let's get back to how we're raising this money then. Because by the way,
we're selling Bissouma. Well, some of us
like
are selling
15 million.
No, his price has gone up after last night.
It's gone up now, is it? Okay.
20 million. 20 million
for Biss. How long has Biss got on his contract?
1 year.
Yeah.
You're not getting 20 million from him.
Well, we got how much you get for Kane for 1 year to go? 100 million, same thing. Bissouma, 20 million. I'm being ironic. All right.
Let's move to some other people that I think we can pretty much guarantee are going to be going. Maybe not though. After this happened recently, Manor Solomon. How do we feel about Manor Solomon? I know Johnny is a massive advocate of this guy. He wants to bring him back, have a look. I think he's one of gazillions of people that do very well in the Championship but can't do it in the Premier League. So
I think he'd be worth giving a chance. He definitely. I think he's a class player, and he'd definitely be worth giving a chance. But is there a political element there? Is the only thing I'd say. We don't need to get into it in detail, but is the fact that he's Israeli, is there an issue there? I know Tottenham, you think it was match made in heaven, but still, there's optics.
I could go on for hours about the political element to it, but I won't. I think there's I'm not.
Is it a factor? Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm really not going to go there, but I've got an opinion. But we're not going to go there on that. But I do think with him, it was a very Levy-esque opportunistic purchase in the first place. And I think that if you look at everything there is a bit of a curse, like a Hello mag. I don't know, you're probably all too young to remember the Hello magazine. If you get married, you get divorced. But if you play left up top for Tottenham these days, look at the last 2 years: Perisic, Hill, Mana, Richie. They all get injured. But I think I reckon Leeds, now they're flush with some new money, we could get about 20-25 million for Mana. So I'd probably sell him. I don't want to, but I think we'll sell him.
Or just wipe out the rest of the face that we owe them for Archie Gray and call it a day.
No, but hang on a second. Yeah, no, you've got a point there, because we don't have any spreadsheet with Crystal Palace. That could be a problem for our Uber going down to Selhurst Park. We'll get there. That's a good point. But Mana, I think we could sell him, and I think Leeds flash with some new money. Well, yeah, the Archie Gray thing, true, but that's a book value, isn't it? But yeah, I think Mana. I think
you could get £15 million, but I actually think we could get £20 million for him if you guys would smash the fucking like button in the chat. There's 550 people here that are watching on YouTube. There's another 400 people watching on Twitter. I don't expect the Twitter people to hit the like button. If you can, that'd be great. But if you guys in the comment section can't hit the like button, then it's going to hurt our ability to spend this summer. So smash the like. We should be on at least 350 likes because the 60% ratio is expectant. Okay, so just smash the like and smash the subscribe as well if you don't mind. And also make sure you get over to Super Spurs TV. Blaine, are you still working on that one?
Over the summer, yeah. I mean, like, I'll post a load of stuff on Twitter, same tag, but like, Sean, see what work at the minute. I can't even scratch my arse for 5 minutes.
I hear you, mate. I hear you. It's it's silly season at work, I guess, for sales teams as well. So what are we saying? 15 million, 20, 18 million for Manuel Solomon, something around there?
17.5, split in the middle.
Okay. So now I think that means we're up to about 150 million, aren't we?
Yep.
Anybody else? How much are you going to get for Brian Hill and Alejo Valise?
Oh, there you go. Interesting. Two players that everyone's forgotten about, right? I think Brian Hill's worth 12 million, but I know he's injured. But like, there's still rumours out that
I thought the deal was loan with a commitment to buy.
So 12 million quid, yeah.
Is it 12 million? But then again, I think he's been worth every penny because he facilitated the exit of Eric Coco Lamela. Now I know that upsets a lot of people, but I never liked Eric Lamela. So well done, really? Brian. Yeah, never liked him.
That was a massive
well, it's another point of difference, me and you, Sean. We could do a separate show on our points of differences. Could go on for about 5 hours. What points of together?
What points of differences do we have?
Enoch, Eric Lamela. Who else? Probably
you're Enoch out, are you?
I'm very Enoch out.
How does it?
We're not going to go there.
How does it feel to be as wrong as you have been for as long as you have been right? My chairman.
We're doing it again. Come on.
Would you want to hear an old favourite? We won it despite of him.
Yeah.
But we're not going to do that because we're all together.
I will gladly come back.
We can discuss this. This is not the time because we're all together today.
100%.
We're all we're metaphorically hugging each other around the world. Even you, who didn't cry at full time. Carry on.
I'm being hugged, and I'm kind of doing that.
I'm hugging you now, mate. No, I know you're giving me an awkward pat. You're about to complain to HR. If Tottenham YouTube had an HR, you'd complain. I get that. Don't worry about it.
All right. So
where are we up to now?
So 12 million for him, on 12 million for Brian Hill allegedly. That's euro. So it's bring that down to 10 million. So that brings up to 160.
Any kids get rid of for 5 million? Any kids? Valise, Jesus, I forgot about him.
I forgot about Valise. Yes, people forget about these players. How much would you get for Valise? Patrick is saying £1 million.
Let's not forget we sold our record club goal scorer of all time, and the person to replace him in the squad that window was Valise. Just saying. So what are we getting for Valise? 5.
That's a little rabbit punch that is in the back of the head. You know, going for a little.
Yeah. That's when I was hugging you. Yeah. So I reckon Valise. I mean, he didn't even make it on the bus. Well, nor did Mana, did he? 5 million. I've just forgotten about him. Send him on loan. Can we get rid of any? Can we get rid of any of the kids? Lancashire. Scarlet.
Well, this is it. This is the part of the story, right? So. We have fucking failed over the last God knows how many years. And this is a Levy problem, a Paratici problem. It's all of them. we haven't done anything with regards to the we always spend more than we don't bring in any money apart from Harry Kane recently and chump change for some of these players elsewhere. But now we're in a position where, look,
don't forget Højbjerg money.
Yeah, we got a little bit for Højbjerg as well. He left on a free, didn't he?
Højbjerg, I thought
it was a loan and then free at the end.
Yeah,
is it?
Really? Yeah.
Okay.
But like this youth system, and this is probably a whole bigger category of conversation that could require a different stream for it. But people think that the youth system is going to fail unless all of these players make it into the first team. That's not how the youth system works, right? It's supposed to be a spinner, right? Like you hope that 2 or 3 of 20 get into the first team, but you also hope that maybe 10 of the other 15 or 17 or whatever can turn a profit, right? So, you know, and I think that there's probably an argument for Will Lancashire. There's probably an argument for Dane Scarlett. There's probably an argument for, I don't know, maybe an Ash Phillips. Maybe
I think Ash Phillips could be one of the top ones to sell because I don't think he's going to make it for us, but he could go play in the Championship.
When we have Buskovich coming in, I don't think that Phillips has
What was the name of that centre half that we had for years who ended up at Celtic?
Cameron Carter-Vickers.
Who's going to be the next Cameron Carter-Vickers that just hangs around to their mid-20s?
Dane Scarlett.
Yeah, so I think Dane Scarlett or Will Lancashire, get rid of one of them. And then we've got to get some money there.
You're never going to get much for these players. What you might do is sell Dane Scarlett for like 3 million, and then maybe you put like a 30% sell-on fee clause so that if he makes it at the next stop, then you get something in the future. That's what Man City do. That's what Chelsea do. They embed these long-term guarantees that if they end up that you ain't going to make it here, but if you make it somewhere else, good luck to you. But we want a slice of your future value, right?
Plus, if you want to buy them back, then you're paying less money.
Didn't we do that with what's his face who went to Portugal? Was it
Marcus
Edwards?
Yeah, but he ended up getting sold for like 2 million quid into Burnley or whatever it was, wasn't it? So we got like 40% of the 2 million quid, which is just about Timo Werner's wages for the last couple of months.
But I thought we reduced that cut when we bought Porro.
We did, yeah. I think it went from 40% down to like 25 or something.
It's the old Enix spreadsheet. Everywhere we go, we got a spreadsheet of all these different clubs. It's all good. Carry on. Right, so we could
probably get rid of Dane Scarlett and Will Lancashire, in fairness, because that's 100%, profit. And then because the reason being, we've got the Irish wonder kid Mason Melia in the youth team now, so he'll be.
Talk to us about. Are you familiar with St. Patrick or St. Partick, whatever it is? Are they? How good is this kid supposed to be?
St. Pat's, yeah, no, he is meant to be quite good. I can't say that I have the same knowledge of that player as, say, Dave Harris. If Dave was on here right now, he'd be able to tell you all about him. But no, I know that he's obviously very well spoken of. And from what the thing is here, the Irish league it's not particularly popular, considering that any Irish player who gets any good whatsoever immediately goes over to England. And then the league isn't even played on TV. You have to subscribe to an online streaming service to watch it. So I'm not, needless to say, I don't subscribe. So I watch highlights. That's all I do. So I've got about as much information on him as anybody else, except ear to the ground sort of situation here. And no, he is meant to be phenomenal.
It's about as useful as the Welsh league.
Yeah, for sure.
It really is not a big league.
No,
fair enough. But I've heard wonderful things about him.
He's outstanding. Yeah.
At the first Change for Tottenham protest, I was walking into a pub on the way up towards Seven Sisters, and I was meeting some guys there, and then there was 3 Irish lads who recognised me, and they come up and they asked me to go over and speak to them, and they said, "Oh, you've got an absolute champion in Mason Melia." I was like, "How good are we talking? Are we like on the levels of like, let's talk about Evan Ferguson, let's talk about someone like that, what sort of level is he?" And he goes, he's closer to Wayne Rooney than Evan Ferguson. And I was like, really?
Okay.
And they were like, yeah, he's that good. He was miles in front of. He's a man already. He's like a big fucking lad, fast as fuck.
Yeah,
more like Liam Delap
seeing him come through
kind of thing. So
yeah.
I don't want to see that geezer go out. I want to see him.
Okay,
fight.
so he's in.
Yeah. So hold on, if we're talking like, do we have to go through the list of every player, or have we got enough money at this point that we can? No,
we've got plenty of money, but obviously, then what you got to do is like factor in, even if say let's 150 million pounds worth of sales potentially there. We're sort of
that's the Champions League one now.
Yeah, but first of all, of that 150, you then immediately cut it in half because half those players are not going to go for the values that we think they are, and of the other half, you might not just even get rid of them anyway. So let's say that we can raise 75 million pound.
But then we've got the Imagine Dragons money coming in over the summer. Beyonce and Beyonce on ice as well. They've just announced they're making the pitch a big ice rink.
Yeah, she's smoking a pipe as she's doing her song
as she goes round on ice. And then Torval and Dean will come in at the end. So watch out for that one. Okay.
Yeah, that's the P Diddy version of Beyonce.
We can also, you're probably going to get onto the wage budget. I was going to ask, does Ben Davies have anything left in his contract?
No, he's out. He's out of contract.
He's out, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this lack of sentimentality. Sonny's going. Ben Davies is going.
The only part about the sentimentality that I'm suddenly back on board with, when I heard Ange just say at the end there, by the way, for all of you TV aficionados, season 3 is much better than season 2, and the crowd went like he is staying. That is his way. Unless Levy hasn't had a conversation, then he's just dropping that. Then he makes it very difficult for Daniel Levy then to hear that and not, We'll find out, but I'm pretty certain that means that Angie's here next season.
Unless you read between the lines, Sean, and say that season 3 is better because you're not here, Ange.
Yeah, it's like Game of Thrones when Sean Bean gets murdered in the first season of Game of Thrones. Yeah, we don't mind chopping up some shit there. Yeah,
if Ange leaves, it's not season 3; it's season 1. So
that's true.
Right, okay. So now, anyone else we can get rid of? Kulusevski,
First Reguilon staying. Maybe Brandon Austin's staying, but Alfie Whiteman's leaving. Foster's leaving. These guys are all going to go on free transfers. Let's just for argument's sake, then cut that number in half, just to be realistic, and go 75 million quid potentially in sale, or maybe let's say 85 million, because we probably, if Romero's going to leave, half that money's in Romero.
Okay,
let's
so what
say
about
85 million.
Okay, so what about from as the last account statement said, we have to live within our means of sustainability. What can we throw in from the coffers? That surely we have something in the coffers that we can add.
Is it a separate revenue, like winning the Europa League and then being in the Champions League? Are they two different pots or no?
Yeah, well, yeah, but the money that we're winning from the Europa League doesn't even cover the money we've lost from the merit money that we would have got had we finished 5th and not did anything in the Europa League. So it's a net. Just forget about it. Kind of write off the Europa League money, but there's an extra somewhere between 7 and 15 million quid, depending on what we do in the Super Cup. If you just for qualifying, it's 7, and so if you lose it, that's it. But if you win that, you get an extra 15 million. So it could be that's an extra either 7 or 22 million. I think it's. I'm not sure if it's 15 million pound on top for winning it or just an extra 7 or 8 million quid, whatever. And so basically let's call a spade and call that 10 million quid more.
Very, very, very quick question. Very quick question, because we go on a million tangents, but who do we want to play in the Super Cup? Inter or PSG?
Inter.
Blaine?
Bear in mind it's in Italy, PSG.
Okay. Yeah,
can I just pause us all for a minute? We've just had a conversation about who we're playing in the Super Cup. When was the last time we had that conversation? Come on. That's a beautiful thing. All right.
2 trophies in 3 months.
Yeah.
Honestly,
if 2 in 2 months.
If we win that cup, we have won more European trophies in the last 6 weeks than Arsenal have won in their entire existence. Because we're not counting the Fairs Cup or whatever it was that happened in the 70s, right? Which was just a fucking
major honors here. Major honors.
Yeah.
Major honors.
Yeah.
So is there anyone else that we could flog and get some money for? I mean, would you be very unsentimental and you have Archie Gray as your proper backup right back and you sell Jed Spence to get some money in?
I don't want Jed Spence to go, but I felt like the last month he's shown the reaction of a guy that felt like he was being used and abused by Ange.
Which he was, to be fair.
He was, yeah.
But I think that if we want to be unsentimental, we could get
No.
I'm just
there's being unwise.
I know. I'm just throwing it out there for you.
What about living in true fantasy land here, right? Now he's a Europa winning club official. Give us 10 million, West Brom, you can have Mr. Mason.
Ryan Mason.
Yeah, just there you go. Compensation. You're taking a Europa winning coach.
I really want to see him leave the club because I feel like he.
So do I.
Yeah. See, there's not that much. We don't disagree on too many things there, David. You know, there's a lot of things that we agree on, mate. You're just wrong about the owner, but that's okay. Everyone's.
Are you in your conspiracy show? Will you be covering the fire at the Enfield Works before the stadium was built? Are you covering that conspiracy?
I haven't gone down that rabbit hole. Is it something?
The archway. That was the last thing. The last property they needed to build, and there was a fire. That was
really?
The archway.
Okay. We need you to call back in on the other channel, mate.
Yeah. You on that one? Yeah.
You're going on that one. All right.
So I'm sorry to interrupt, mate. I need to shoot on, but thanks for having me back on. Good to
Love
see
you, man.
you guys.
Thank you again for your generosity, mate. You never need that stuff. I really appreciate it. Thanks, buddy.
No worries. Catch us all
Nice to
soon.
meet you.
God bless, bro.
Cheers, Blaine. All right, so now we've got ourselves to like 100. Let's call it £100 million in potential sales, and then in terms of the money coming in, or the money that we've got to spend, as I've said 1,000 times, right? Like if we won the Europa League, I expect, given our wage bill, that how low it is. I don't think it's as low. I think it's manufactured. I think people have to remember that your ratio is part of a numerator and the denominator, right? So the bottom line is your revenue and the top line is your spend. So if your spend stays the same but your revenue goes up, then your ratio goes down. And so it's a little bit of a manipulated trigger for people that want to find reasons to hate.
Who on earth would use such a ratio to advance their argument against the owners? I can't think of anyone whatsoever.
Some people that turn Levy out into currency. You know, there's a lot of people.
Who are these people? Oh, it's me.
Well, I really want to see, mate. Actually, whilst I've got you, then not to get into the Levy debate, but whilst we've got you now,
go on.
Like, does the buck stop at the top in your mind?
Well, yeah, it does.
So does that buck now?
I know what you're going to do. Is it Levy's fault that we hit that John Terry's goal in the semi-final didn't go over the line?
No. Just the buck stops at the top has to be used consistently, right? I know it's only ever a phrase that you hear when there's bad things.
Sean, it has to be used when it suits your purpose as an argument. That's called manipulation, and that's called.
And right now, it entirely suits my purpose as an argument. So,
which is what you're doing. Carry on.
Lads, give me 1 second. I'm going to hop off in about 20 minutes. So, can we finish the financial? Your Levy thing as soon as.
Okay.
You want to escape that room so you don't have to hear another Levy argument. I don't blame you.
£100 million in potential outgoings. I think that Daniel Levy can easily now justify £100 million in spend. 100% we can.
We've got a 200 war chest this is the biggest summer since we had the last biggest summer before the other biggest summer. Okay.
So what are we doing?
We have the wiggle room, wiggle room to be able to really go after certain players that otherwise might not be attainable because of our wage structure. We don't have those problems anymore, right? So that's the first thing. Second thing is we don't need to replace 3/4 of the squad. The argument has always been in the past, where's our Declan Rice? And I'm saying, well, you can't sign a Declan Rice and also sign 8 other noodles. You can't do that. So Arsenal got themselves in a position where they only needed a couple of players, and that's where they spent £100 million on. Tottenham now have the ability potentially to be able to go and speak to those best players and go, hey, you've got another person coming in. And one person leaves, another person joins. Hi, Adrian, how you doing? Good to see you, mate.
First beer of the day. I've come back from the parade, which was fantastic. There's actually a 3-hour video of it, which is brilliant. I know, like David Harris and like the other David Harris, not this funny geezer from down under. All right, we have met once on the cheese room, though, I think once.
No, that's right. I remember absolutely. Yes. You came on. I do remember.
It was that bad.
Good to see you, Adrian. Before we reminisce, mate, we'll come back to your experience at the thing because we've only got Adam for another 15 minutes, and we've been trying to get through this for 2 hours, and Adam's trying to keep us on track. So let's finish the chat. Adrian, you can participate in it, and then we're going to come back to your memories of experience of what happened today in a minute once Adam drops off. But we've just basically figured out we've probably got £200 million to spend, and we probably only need 5 players to come in.
Well,
we have in the makeup breakup of the squad, we have liquidated certain positions that need to be replaced in those 5 or 6 positions, right? We do need a top draw centre back, maybe 2. We need a left back or a full back to complement what we have. I
don't want to end up dragging this out more, but I will just say as well, we have to consider what exactly is our aim. That we heard Ange say, Season 3 is better than Season 2. If Season 3 is better than Season 2, and in Season 2 we won the Europa League, what does Season 3 look like? Because we're not winning the Champions League, and we're not winning the Premier League. Does that mean we're getting an FA Cup and a Carabao Cup? What are we winning exactly? And based on that, What do we need in order to achieve a season that is better than season 2? That's what you got to be thinking about when you're bringing in players. You also, if we're going to try and do that, you need to think about the fact that you have Arsenal are probably going to bring in someone like a Gyökeres to play in the number 9. They've already got Zubimendi coming in to play alongside Marino, get that partnership back together in the double pivot. So they're going to be an absolutely outstanding outfit. And you've got Florian Wirtz going to Liverpool, who's going to be unbelievable cam for them, as well as Frimpong on the right and probably Kirkes on the left. That team is going to be outstanding. How do you beat any of these guys and have a better season 3 than a season 2? So you've got to think really bloody hard about who we're going to get in to be able to beat those teams.
Or do we just take Ange on his usual repertoire, which is, I'm going to say whatever needs to be said to make people buy into me for 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes. It's like when I used to say to the girls at the bar, they just want one more drink. Just one more drink. I promise you'll fall in love with me.
Well, what kind of season do you want? What kind of season do you want? What competition are you looking to win? Are we looking to win a competition? Surely we are. And if so, that's what you got to be thinking about in terms of bringing in players to be able to succeed. And like, as I said, Liverpool are going to be absolutely unbelievable next season. Arsenal are going to be the best team that they've been in a very, very long time. You've got to think about that when you're thinking about the kind of players.
And Newcastle and Palace, if they keep their squad together, there's lots of new threats on the horizon.
Palace will fall apart because their players will all get sold now, I think. But
So I'm talking. We're going to have FA Cup. I want to win the FA Cup
and the League Cup.
I want to win the FA Cup. Finish top 5 quarterfinals of the Champions League.
That'll do.
All right, that'll do me. All right,
that'll do me as well.
Yeah.
Then I want another Beyonce series of concerts, and
I want a free season ticket at the Formula One go-kart track downstairs, and certainly a skywalk or two. You know,
that's what we're going to do. And then I want Oasis to finish their comeback tour, their last ever show, at their spiritual ground of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, not Manchester. That'll be next year. Because don't forget, the last time that we won a trophy, Oasis were together, and now they're back together again. It's the Gallagher brothers. All right.
Yeah. Funnily enough,
Manchester Gallagher brothers.
There is someone who's like, if there's anyone watching this who's like a top 1% loyalty points season ticket holder. There's a guy who always goes to every away game. Right? He was in Bodo. He was there yesterday. I saw him at the airport this morning. He's never spoken to me. I think I've definitely been called out by one of his mates before. When I was at Luton, fuck YouTubers, fuck them, you're all a bunch of cuds, is what I heard. But this guy, he thinks he is Liam Gallagher. He looks like him in the face. He's got the haircut. He clearly knows he looks like him because he's got the haircut to match, and he walks like this as well, the way Liam Gallagher does. So he is like I'm sure he's got like a second job. Has he got
a pretty green Parker? Because I do. And if he ain't got one of them,
he's no Liam Gallagher, is he?
He's no Liam Gallagher. No.
There you go, mate. I've seen him, says George Clark. There you go. Yeah. I was at the airport this morning. Yeah, he doesn't. I don't think he doesn't. I've never met him, but he doesn't like me. But he walks past like he's mad for it all the time. You know, he's a top drawer, mad for it. But so
we're going to spend this money. Yeah, we want to spend this money. We know what the season is. I like this discipline that Adam is giving us. So we want can we start about 250 grand a week players? What positions?
Well, what's your talisman first of all? Because if Arsenal do bring in Gyökeres, if Liverpool bring in Florian Wirtz, you've got to have someone that coming in that is of that caliber at like number 1. That's you got to because otherwise
easy.
Who's it?
Vlahovic.
He's a striker. He's not. We're talking about a creative player there, aren't we? In the Florian Wirtz mold, right? Well, we 100% need more creativity than we have.
Well, didn't have 3 creative players didn't play in the final, so we got 3. It's a question if you want.
But Berghvall's an 8th, right? And he's a kid. Maddison is for sure. He's good when he wants to be, but he's also fucking inconsistent.
Maddison's a 1/3 season man. Maddison's a 1/3 season man, as far as I'm concerned.
His numbers are still good. Decky's numbers are good. You know,
I want a number 6. I want a bastard number 6. He's going to
be although it looks like I think we'll get Cardoso. Who's a decent player. I like him. I like the look of him. But I still think the step up of Cardoso is Frattesi at Milan. And he's not been getting David Frattesi. He's not getting much time. So if Paratici's coming in, please go and get those 2. And then if you're looking at someone, left centre back who can play at left back. Me and Sean have spoken about David Henko before at Feyenoord. He can do both.
Jarell Hato.
Sorry?
Jarell Hato. He's Ajax.
Hato's class, yeah.
And
let's do one. Hang on, one.
Creative midfielders. I'm not.
Hang on, Adrian, 1 second. You're just jumping around all your picks around the pitch. We're starting with the creative player at the top. That's what we started with, right? Are we looking for a striker, or are we looking for an everything guy that can do a little bit off the left, a little bit off the right? You know, if so, because if you're trying to recreate the Florian Wirtz thing, I don't know if you necessarily need someone that can do it all. But if you want someone to come in, or are we saying that the 10's okay with Maddison and Decky? Because both of them are injury prone. Decky seems to be a first half of the season guy. He's a champion. Second half of the season, he blows chunks out of his ass. So I worry about his ability to stamina. I think he thinks he's a sprinter, not a marathon sort of thing, and that's a problem for me because he's no good.
Then, if you want your creative player and you want somebody who can do it, you bring in Eze. You bring in Eze.
Eze and Cherky are at the top of my list.
Yeah, Ryan Cherky, the winger from France, 21.
He can play the cam as well.
Not back on that because we brought in so many youngsters, Adam. I mean, like he's 21, smashing it in France. Yeah, well,
statement signing, right?
He's quality. He's quality. He's going to smash it.
I posted videos of him recently in the groups, didn't I? So
I want to see Eze.
Eze seems to be like nailed on Tottenham, doesn't he? He's like his mates all our players. He's part of the CAA based system.
But weren't we told that Ange doesn't want him?
Yeah. Well, Ange wanted. Yeah, this is the thing. Like now he's got season 3. But season 3 is going to be.
And signed off on Werner, for God's sake.
Yeah, and he signed off on Solanke as well. Now, with Ange, I think it's a bit more practical. I think it was because like we had a limited amount of money to spend, even because we still got to pay for Danso, who looks a good player for the money, right? So I think we had a limited amount of money, and I just think he wanted Solanke. He wanted to prioritise that position. And Solanke, 15 goals, 8 assists in all comps, not bad. So I get that. We did but now, as Sean alluded to, as I just switched on, but we got more money to spend. So leaving each.
How much is Eze going to cost us?
65 million is the release fee, but it's required in one lump sum, which is problematic for cash flow. So
yeah, but we're going to send them. We're going to send them. We'll send them Dragushin on loan. That'll offset a bit. I can have Dragushin on loan. All right.
Does Eze want to leave though? Like they're on a good thing. If they can keep that squad together, Palace are not. Then like obviously
they're in Europe. They're in Europe as well.
They're in Europe as well for the first time in fucking 40 years.
Yeah, but does he want?
Yeah, but I'm not being funny. Now, look at us winning the Europa, and we have been dog shit in the league, and they'll think to themselves, we got a chance in this. Yeah.
Would Cherky be cheaper? Cherky cheap.
Okay, so Eze can be organised, I think, with a you have to go in and negotiate, but the 65 release fee is probably better to go in and say, I'll give you 70 million if you let us structure it in a way that's amenable.
Yeah,
because of our cash flow, because there is cash flow issues, right? For sure there is at Tottenham, but there's a lot of money coming in though. So if you can make that work, are we all happy with Eze?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then do we still need a striker on top? I think we do if we're getting rid of Richalison, right? We need a striker on top.
Yeah.
Are we all thinking Jonathan David's the best realistic available? Like Goicoechea isn't coming to Tottenham.
Is Jonathan David that good?
He's on a free, mate, and
he's done it. His numbers are insane.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always like harsh on him. I always said I don't think he's that great. And then Johnny reminds me of this, but for what it's worth, Johnny used to parrot the same opinion that I had. And as soon as now he's developed, I said at the start of the season, he's actually now developing into he's filling the holes in his game that were there before. They're not there anymore. So I think that you can applaud the guy's development on that basis, not the basis that he's just done another season of good numbers, but on the basis that he's improved as a player. I'm okay with it.
So what are we talking for him? Like if we're not paying for him, but we're paying agents.
He'd be the 250. He'd be 250 grand a week. Well, apparently he wants 15 million pound a year, and his agent wants 10 million pound for the signing fee, right? So that's 300 grand. That's in euros. So about 270 a week in salary.
And what about Vlahovic from Juventus?
I don't know about him. I don't mind it, but I also don't. I don't think he's. It's so difficult to know what these players are going to transition to. The Premier League's a different pace.
Yeah,
it's so much faster.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I mean, Jonathan David, I looked at him 2 seasons ago. This season he's done well in France. The season before I looked at him, I thought, meh. Mind you, I thought something about Brennan Johnson, meh. But I mean, like, I just like the technical look at him. Like, when I'm looking at a player on YouTube, people say, oh, the hells look good on YouTube. What you're looking for? With midfield,
like a much better
I'm looking for players that with vision, who move the ball quickly, who can make things happen. And David's got all them. He ticks those 3 boxes, right? He does.
He's like a better Solanke. He can do everything Solanke can do, but better because he's stronger. He's like he's able, like the fact that he's able to hold on to the ball, get all about the pitch, get the ball, get it moving, get it forward, like and then he can score goals. He's incredible with the hold up play.
He can play in midfield as well as wide, so
what about a swap deal for Sonny for Tony? Saudi Arabia swap.
Tony?
No
way, man.
No.
That's yesterday's news. We went for Solanke over Tony, and I think that was the right move.
What about buying Solanke and Tony in the same window last summer, going absolutely balls out? Why didn't we do that? We could have done it.
Tony's I
know what he is, but so what? And what, in the history of our club, we've had angels the whole time. I can think of many players who've been less than angels. Yeah,
there's a lot of noise in the background about Tony. A lot of like attitude and stuff like that, and we don't want that fucking shit in the squad that's got good team spirit at the moment. Like
Bissouma on the hang on.
Can I throw a quick name out for you? There's a name that we've spoken about many times, but we haven't spoken about it for a while. Harry Kane.
No,
coming back.
No, hang on a minute. We've already covered off sentimentality versus nostalgia. All right.
This is not sentimental.
And actually, I remember this, Sean, because I think I was on the show. You were on a show, and I was saying anyone going back, it never works. And that's right. And you threw out loads of names. I think you even had Harold Wilson coming back as a second-term Prime Minister at one point, right? Okay. So I'm sorry. I'm really happy for Kane. So happy, let's try.
I'm not asking him to come back. If I was a Liverpool fan, I'd be saying Harry Kane for 50 million. The guy's 32, but he gets better with age because he's not going to be someone that he's going to like. His pace is irrelevant. Like he's someone that he doesn't get injured that much anymore.
Right.
5 years since his last injury, he bangs in the goals.
He wasn't fit at the Euros. He's been getting back injuries and stuff like that.
There is another couple of names. I know we've been linked with Delat, who's still developing, but looks decent. But I don't think Kuna's a done deal to Man United now they haven't got European football. So he could be an option if we were interested and sort of mentioned it now, because they were sort of saying, it's virtually a done deal. They're going to beat us in the Europa League and all this old crap. So
I don't know how Man United afford him.
Yeah,
I don't know how Man United have got that money. I think Man United are fucked.
At least he's Premier League proven, so I'd probably break my take on
Cunha at the level.
Cunha's class.
Hang on.
He's proven in this league, so I'd take him. Go on, Dave. Go on.
Hang on a minute. But 5 minutes ago, Tony's a bad egg, a bad influence. We're going to get Cunha in. He has fights on the bench. He does an Instagram post saying he's off and this, that, and the other. There's a bit of a different. Hang on.
I think it's Jonathan David, lads. I think everything that we need, he's got it all, and not causing any disruption.
It's not done, but there was rumours that he was definitely going to Napoli. Then that's now not so sure. Then he was definitely going to Inter. Now that's not so sure. This is before the Tottenham one, but Tottenham are back in it a couple of days ago, according to reports. I got told clickbait, Butler. You become a clickbait prick. And I was like, well, I'm just telling you what's in the news. I don't make the news up. Fucking hell. But it's not done. So, Jonathan David for me is, as a striker,
yeah.
For me, I think he's I don't think we're going to get Sesko. I think that's, he's got, he might look at Tottenham and say, well done for winning the Champions League, or the Europa League, but he's also going to look at our league system and go, is this a one thing and is it a flash in the pan? We don't know. But what I do know is, guys, there's 1,000 people watching on the two streams right now. Can you smash the like button if you haven't already? We should be on 400-500 likes. We're nowhere near it. I don't know what we're on, but we're not on anything like it. Hit the subscribe as well on this channel and also on Adrian's Spurs Diehards TTID. But guys,
if you
can I do a quick plug for my show? Sorry to be all showbiz. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't know you had a show. Sorry. Go on. Yeah, plug.
No, because I'm so ethereal and floats on different channels and podcasts. I'm just a tart. So basically, we were on the Cheese Room YouTube channel where there was a bit of a split last year. It's called now Lads at Tottenham, which obviously all the United fans have been saying all week, but they're not now, are they? And so it's called Lads at Tottenham. We do a show Tuesday night, 8 p.m. UK time. It's called Grumpy Old Spurs. And so you've got to be grumpy, you got to be old, you got to be a Spurs fan. And when we have guests on, we ask them, when's the first time that you've ever been to a Tottenham game? And when was the first time Spurs has made you grumpy? Because Sean, even Spurs must have made you grumpy over the years. Come on.
Am I old enough to qualify?
Probably
David,
not.
Put my number in the private chat. If you whack yours in, or Adam, if you want to come on Spurs Diehards anytime, Sean's welcome anytime. He knows that as well. And we've got a show tonight at 10 o'clock, right? So Drew Zilla's running that. So yeah.
But we do have people known as being in their 30s. These youngsters. Come on. So we are obviously, this is like the U2 of the Tottenham YouTube world. This channel, we're like the Fall or a cult band, but you know what I mean. But that's what we are.
No, I don't know. I don't mean perfect.
You're Bono, and we are Marquis.
Mate, I appreciate you saying that. It's embarrassing to hear it because when I go on some channels, they go, "Oh, we've got YouTube royalty," and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm just a donut with a dog.
Stop being humble, Sean. Stop being humble.
Right. So anyway, let's get back to this money we're spending.
Yeah, let's get back to this thing.
We've got Eze's in, Jonathan David, on the basis that he helps grannies across the road. Has never been a bad influence. I've never done a bad thing of that. Jonathan David's in. So are we?
David likes a bad boy. We can tell David likes a bad boy. He wants some trouble. He wants some trouble. I
want Liam Gallagher in. Right, number 6. Who's going to? I want a number 6.
Number 6. Now we're moving back down to 6. Oh, sorry. Just out of curiosity. So are we saying that Eze is he's the winger that can come in? Just to finish off the argument at the top end of the pitch, though, I do want to get, before we move down the south end, Matisse Tell.
Oh yeah.
What's everyone's takes on Matisse Tell? People know how I feel about it, so I'll just hand
another loan. I'd take him on loan. He hasn't done enough. There's talent there, but if he's a loan with no obligation to buy, they're like foolproof deals, aren't they? I'd take him on loan. But the rumours at club that they really like him, so obviously they've seen a lot more of him training.
You don't think you haven't seen enough yourself to think he's a good enough player?
Got 2 or 3 goals and all that.
Whenever I've seen him, he's playing Premier League minutes, in a team that nobody else, 10 of the other 11 players, haven't given a flying.
I like his attitude on the pitch.
His attitude is incredible, mate.
Yeah, his attitude is fantastic, and I like the fact that I've seen him. He's looked slightly better in small increments each time I've watched him play. So I would like to keep him, but it's the budget thing, Sean. It's not the question whether you want to keep
200 million to burn through, mate, according to our calculations.
But hang on,
we're spending our budget. If it means
burning a hole in Levy's pockets, mate.
If it means you're getting Eze and Kuna in, right? Then you might be talking about then we've still got to do the left back, we've still got to do the right back. I'd like Van at Monaco, right? It's a question of how you spread the money or what down payments you want. And if they want 60 mil down on Eze, pay the money. Just get him in because he's quality, right? But then with the rest of your budget, and it's not certain Romero's going to go now. Not certain. That's not certain. I want him to stay. I love the player. I know with all the players now, they're all subject to the fan base. They're either half love or half late, half the players we've got. That's normal. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we think because we don't get a say in what happens anyway. We only express opinions,
Yeah, that's true.
I would say so. You know what? I mean, that Forest home game when you had Odegaard and Tell pinging in loads of crosses, and poor old Dominic Solanke, who's been wishing for that all season, sat on the bench watching it. Yeah. I would, but don't forget we've got the Bayern Munich Tottenham spreadsheet, so they probably owe us some more money. So let's have I quite like that idea. Tell on another loan for a year. That chips away at what they owe us. We'll keep him. I mean, to be honest with you, just going back a step, to be very unsentimental, if someone said here's 60 million for Brennan Johnson, I'd take that. And if someone came in and said Odegaard,
Europa League winner, Brennan Johnson.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Look,
And Odegaard's the most skillful player at the club. That's what the players are saying. The most skillful player. Odegaard. The players.
I've not seen. I don't think anyone last summer turned around and said, "I'd love to spend money on a Burnley winger." Has anyone said that?
No.
I don't think so.
No, he came out.
Actually, David, if you go back a year and a half, I was saying there's a winger in every single team that can do what we don't have.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave a Burnley winger as an example. It wasn't him. It was Koleosho. I said players like Koleosho are quality players. They're 10 a penny. They are 10 a fucking penny. So I 100% get on board the argument that Matisse Tell is nowhere near worth 50 bar. Nothing like it. But there's something in his mentality that I think when everybody else around you doesn't give a fuck and you stand out by your energy, I think that shows you something that you can't pay for. Yeah, I think that he would have been forgiven for not giving a fuck because no one else did, and he was only a loanee, so why would he care? But you know what?
Tell and Odegaard should both stay. To be honest, I think like they're good. You know,
so we're selling Johnson then.
He comes from a good pedigree, though, Odegaard, because he was at a PSG academy. He went to Burnley under Vincent Kompany. Vincent Kompany was raving about him. I'm not a big stat man, but I did check his stats. This was before the Euros and Nico Williams smashed it. His stats were exactly the same as Nico Williams. I know we'd all take Nico Williams, right? And he's still at best, or whatever he is, like. So he's he's one of these players that, I mean, I know players have been hyped up in the past, but and he will take his man on. We've seen him take it, and he has got quick feet. I mean, that kid has got. I thought Sonny had quick feet, but I think Odegaard's got quicker feet.
And he can actually keep the ball. Like Sonny loses the ball like nobody's business. He's not able to beat a man, whereas Odegaard actually beats several.
I've enjoyed watching Odegaard every time I've seen him. Sorry, Adam. I've enjoyed Odegaard every time I've seen him. I think he's someone else that's growing. He's obviously been out for a long time with a horrendous injury.
Yeah,
I think there's massive value there. We're not selling him. I think he's not the finished article, but someone that's to come in. And if there was someone else that could come in that could lend a little bit of the education of how to be a winger, like imagine if you had an Ivan Perisic in the squad now.
I love Perisic.
I love Perisic as well.
Me too.
Whoever's playing Shawnee Bingo, then drink a shot because I'm about to tell you about the cadence of a certain step over merchant. Ivan Perisic doesn't have the pace, but he does have that hypnotic step over thing where it's so rhythmic that no one knows when he's going to drop his shoulder inside.
He's in the Croatia squad with Modric, and Modric is 40 now, and they take him on the next tournament.
Yeah, 100%. Just real quick, guys. Just real quick. This super chat's been waiting for a while. Totspur 63. Thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate you. Very generous. Good evening, all. I've just watched the live stream on the parade. I was on the pitch at White Hart Lane on Wednesday. You're the reason why they're going to break 4 ankles. 4 ankles are going to get broken on Sunday. You watch, those divots are going to come back to haunt us. I'm going on Sunday. I have not come down off the ceiling yet. Just enjoy, peeps. I haven't come down yet either, but that's for a different reason.
I'm literally going to jump off. So do me a favor. I'm going to throw you some names just for what I think that we should do during the summer. And let's
pivot back to the 6. Let's get down the table. Yeah, 6.
You're the numbers guy, right? So you tell me what it would look like to get in the people that I think make sense. So we were saying Jonathan David and Eze, I think solid. I think that we like the midfield is the weakest part of the team. I think if our midfield was stronger, then you would see the guys up front doing better. Johnson would score more goals. Solanke would score more goals. Odegaard, Tell, I think the midfield is where we're lacking. So Eze coming in does the creativity. I'd be happy to see Cardoso coming in as well, to be honest. And we're getting him on the cheap. But I also really, really like the Juventus CDM Fagioli. Like I know we've been linked with him already before, and I think he's actually really, really solid. And not only is he incredible midfielder, he gets back and makes goal line clearances, but he also scores goals. Like I think he's phenomenal, and I think he shouldn't be overlooked. So I would want, it would be nice to get Cardoso and Fagioli in, both of them, and then I'd bring in Jarell Hato to play centre back, and he could rotate with Micky van de Ven and Udogie because he can play both those positions. So just get him rotating. So that's 5.
You talked about 5 players. Was that 5? I was going to throw. I'm looking at right back as well, and I like Vanderson at Monaco, and I think we should get him. He's a
hang on. Sorry, Adrian. Sorry, but we don't want to jump. Sorry, I'm not trying to tell you. Adam said he's got to go in 5, so we just want to get some valuations of some of the players that you said. Who was it you said? Fagioli?
Sorry. David at the top. Eze.
Yeah.
Fagioli.
Yeah.
Cardoso, Hato. What are we looking at price-wise?
What are we looking at? A homegrown in the Champions League squad? What's the rules and regulations about that? Where do we stand?
We have
with
Eze.
Fine with that, basically.
You have to have 8. You have to have 8 homegrown players. 4 of them have to be academy trained for.
Which we have.
Club
We've
for
got loads.
For 3 years. Right?
No, Gray, Maddison. You got Gray, Maddison.
Gray doesn't count. Gray doesn't count. Gray and Berghvall do not count because they weren't at the club. Like to be on the B list, right, of under 21s, you've got to be with the academy at 2 years. So when we got Berghvall and Gray, and they didn't count for the B list. They don't count for that, right?
Jamie Donnelly, Mikey Moore, J.A. There's plenty of, like, bearing in mind that people think that four
starting year, because Mikey Moore was only 17 in August.
Yeah,
so it might be 18 to 21 that B list is. I don't know if 17-year-olds
but we've got more than enough players that could be on it, that can return from loan, that can be.
Whiteman,
they don't have to be first team opportunities. They just have to make up the bench.
So we're saying, Sean, you were saying Eze, we probably have to ask to give them 70 in order to do it over a long period of time. So let's say
you probably have to pay more than the minimum fee. If you want to trigger the minimum fee, then you have to pay it up front. That's the rule.
Anybody know what Fagioli's worth? We talking 40?
No, I don't.
Hang on.
We know we can get Cardoso on the cheap.
Yeah, he's 21 million. That's it. The Lo Celso deal. He's 21 million, 25 million euros.
Fagioli's worth 18 million euros on transfer market, so double that, and that's 30 million quid.
35 maybe.
That's euros, so like 30 million quid.
And on the question of homegrown, if you look
that's
at
120.
Yeah,
that's 120. So then Hato
from Ajax, yeah.
Yeah. Jarell Hato, he's only about 18, I think, and he's an absolute sensation. He's an absolute sensation, and he'd definitely be willing to play second fiddle to Van de Ven and Udogie if he's rotating in those.
Any more youngsters, we might as well open up a maternity ward at the club. You know,
I know. Hato,
we need oven ready players, don't we?
Hato's 30 million euros, sort of double that again. 50 million quid, 40 million quid, something like that. Yeah, 45. So a lot of money. I think he'll. I think wherever he goes, he'll want to play second fiddle, mate. To be honest,
that's not the value of the player.
165. That's 165, and then Jonathan David on top of that.
Well, it's going to cost you a £10 million signing fee, and then to the agent. I never understand why the agent thinks that they deserve something out of a free transfer. It's not like they've done anything particularly special, but it is what it is. And then you're going to pay him over the bonuses, and he wants 270 grand a week, right? And again, we're in a position now where we can afford that, and it's a massive deal and a massive moment. So let's do it. Like, let's not fuck around. At some point, Tottenham have to break that wage barrier structure. Otherwise, we'll always be a B team, right? So
what's his bonus going to be? If it's 10 million for his agent, his bonuses.
He'll get a signing fee of like 15 million, something like that. So
15. Yeah. Okay, that's exactly 190 million from my perspective.
So you haven't replaced Romero.
You wouldn't be paying it all one lump. So you might have to put 60 mil, might pay for Eze, right? So
but if you're talking about those things like amortization, because we still owe £300 million on previous amortization. So
137 million.
Just to keep it simple, you might as well just work with the budget that you've got, because obviously the amortization is all structured differently and stuff. But we still owe a lot of money on.
I haven't replaced Romero because I'm thinking Danso, Dragusin and Vuskovic, and I think Vuskovic is better than Dragusin. So he's like, that for me, that's the only reason I haven't thought about that. I think our defense is solid enough that we've got a better midfield, so they're under less strain, and we're mostly like, again, if Ange is staying, it's attack.
No. We've got pragmatic Ange now in Europe, right?
No. He's going to. He did pragmatic to get the trophy. Starting next season, he's like, right, lads, let's continue this.
We better fucking have pragmatic. We better have European Ange on a fucking Sunday. What I'm saying is, I don't want to see this. There's me, right? There's like, I'm a perfect example of this. You catch me in a business meeting on a Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. I'm not the drunken slob that you would have seen on Wednesday morning in Bilbao. There's a time and a place, right? So, I'm just saying that, I want to see a little bit more of midweek Ange on a weekend is what I want to see.
I agree. But he can do it. It's in his locker.
You stop agreeing with me, mate, because we're putting the damper on this show that we're supposed to be having. I thought you
were I want that Palace centre back. I mean, we made that very sincere bid for him on the last day of the transfer window.
Yeah.
right?
We better fucking follow through with it now, though, because we put
Well, we
70 bar down. He was going to be our next our club transfer record, and it was
Correct.
rejected. And then we cried foul cried poor in the press for the last 2 months. There's no crying poor anymore, Daniel.
Yeah, you're sounding a bit changed for Tottenham there, Sean. You want to watch that?
Mate, change for Tottenham. I am one of only 50 people that have been to all of the change for Tottenham marches. So anyone that thinks I'm Levy in and I'm a ball licker or whatever, I'm not. I'm just someone that, you know, I can chew through the grey and figure out where it is that I land. I'm an independent critical thinker. That's all I am.
Oh, that is, and also that is a beautiful thing to say. Right, okay. So no one wants to really go. Right, we got Eze. I want Eze. I want.
Yeah, you know, so before we come to you there, and is this a perfect time for us to say goodbye to you, mate? If you need to jump.
Yeah. My beautiful wife, who has 4 weeks left before she gives birth to our first son.
Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Yeah.
And is it a boy? Is it a boy or a girl? Do you know?
It's a boy. Yeah.
Brennan, it is. Congratulations!
The next generation of Tottenham fans. You know what? I feel like he's my lucky charm. Do you know what I mean? Because he's almost ready to pop, and that's when we've gone and won a trophy. So
if you'd like to put your number in the chat, I'll put the link for my show.
He's in the WhatsApp chat, Adrian. You can.
Yeah.
David, my number's in there. I'll put it in, and I'll put the link for tonight's show, which will finish up Sean's show. And you're all welcome to come on, Sean. You can come on because anyone's coming on this one and Brighton show because it's like party time, really. You know, so
100%. Adam, mate, thank you very much for coming on, boat. Great to see you, mate. Great to see you. When I said to you, White, you come on really rosy faced. I said, have you been out in the sun? You said, no, I'll come out from the gym. You've been on the show for about an hour and a half, mate, and the red hasn't gone. So
still sweating. Can't come down. At my age, it takes a while to recover. Do you know what I mean?
I hear that, mate. Trust me, for a different reason, but I hear that, bro. I'll speak to you on the chat, mate. Love to see you, Adam. Thanks, mate, and good luck. If I don't, I'm sure I will, but good luck to your missus for the pregnancy coming up, mate. Good luck to you, buddy.
Much appreciated, guys. God bless, mate. And come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Adam.
All right, guys. So let's get back into it. So, Dave, you were next up. So you're 4 or 5 that we need to work on. We got Eze and Jonathan David all agreed on. Your 6 is where?
My number 6. Well, you're either going to go. I mean, I know I'm being a cliche. Adam Wharton. I mean, the guy was at Fulham who went to Bayern who hasn't played a lot. He's a number 6 who gets the ball, and if he can pass 5 yards, like Wilson Palacios, that might do for us. I'm not Johnny Cardoza. You got this. I always think there's a bigger risk if you get people in who do not have Premier League experience, right? So I mean, Douglas Luiz he's at Juventus now. Not sure he's played that much. You know, our number 6. I want a number 6 to be our new club captain. To be honest with you, because Sonny's going to go, Romero's probably going to go. I don't think Maddison's a true captain. To be honest,
would you get this guy back, David?
Paulinho.
Paulinho from Bayern Munich.
He went to Bayern from Fulham. Yeah, it's a good call. Douglas Luiz is a good call. I think Villa had to sell. I thought, why are they getting rid of him? I mean, like when he went. And he was banging a few
70 million quid, probably, why isn't it? I think it was sort of 45 or something silly. Amazing player. If not Paulinho, Edison, a player that's kind of fallen off the rails a little bit for Atalanta in his second year, but top draw player that Tottenham wanted, didn't get him. He went and won the Europa League last season. This season, he's come back down to gravity's brought him back down again. He's not really a 6, but he's an 8 that can do it all because he's that well-rounded. And he's someone
we've got a lot of 8s who we play. You know, that's what like the last 3 games in Europa we've essentially played a double pivot, and the defense has been a lot more solid because we've been pragmatic. Right now, I just think we need, as I said, we need a real leader. I know that we've won a trophy for the first time, and Sonny's been great, but Sonny, God bless him, is not a real captain leader. Okay, so that's what we need. I want someone in who's a bit of a bastard.
I'd like Fratesi then. I think go looking. I know he scored a goal in the Champions League in the final, didn't he? Semi-final, I can't remember now. But he not only is he box to box, he's so aggressive, and that's what you want. Aggressive players are winners. So I'd like him. I'd like Eze, obviously. I'm still going to stick with Vlahovic. Dan on another show, 90 reckons I've got a picture of Vlahovic on my bedside table. I keep going on about him. So if we're bringing in Defender, I would take David Hanko of Feyenoord. So it depends on our budget. He can play left back, captain, and he's left-footed centre back as well. He would do. And right back, Vanderson at Monaco, the Brazilian. He's an absolute tank. He's like Udogie at his best, but on the right. And I just
there's a monster in Italy whose name is Samuel Ricky, right? And he's a CAA base. Right. He's sort of described. He's a deep line playmaker. I was on a show with Sava and I brought him up. I said it just makes a lot of sense with the fact with the Paratici thing. He's 23 years old. He fits the profile. He's not going to be signing a new contract, and he is sort of described as like if you want to try and find a superstar that you can emulate him against, it's an Andrea Pirlo, right? Which to me, if you're going to go and get a six that can sort of snuff out the danger and just be there, and as I say, the difference between a 6 and an 8 is someone that sniffs the risk versus finds the value. And I think that Samuel Ricky is someone that could do the switch play, right? He's got such an amazing ping on him. And if you're going to play down 2 channels next season, if you're going to have a right winger that can take players on, if you're going to have a left winger who can do it, if you've got an Eze, you've got those guys that you can find at the top end of the pitch, and you've got a manager that's pragmatic enough to allow the build-up to be pacey or slow and mix it up, and having someone like Samuel Ricky in there, the value in Cardoso is his switch, right? His switch is fucking phenomenal. He gets to where it needs to be, pacey, driven, and 92 times out of 100, he gets the long ball where it needs to be. Samuel Ricky's like that, but on steroids. Like, he's just an absolute baller, a tempo master.
Good. I'd like to have a look at him.
Really like him. No links to him yet, but I expect that there will be because he is CAA based and he's looking like there's chances are he's going to move. So, like, I wonder if Tottenham are going to stick around.
The cynic and us being Spurs fans, we're going to get Cardoso and Angel Gomez, right? Because they're both on freeze, right? And probably Jonathan David as well, because with him you don't have to break your pay structure if you give him a bigger signing on fee. You say, well, we don't want to break our signing pay structure, so what we do, we give you a couple of extra
fucking pay structure, Adrian. We've got to break it at some point. Break the fucking structure. Now's the time to break it, Daniel.
I'm just saying that's the way we could do the deal and get around it. But yeah, now
you got to break it at some point, and now's the perfect time. I had empathy and sympathy for the plight in 2019. It wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right time. It's abnormal events. Now is the right time. You've got yourself a lifeline.
Guaranteed 90 mil.
Do it now, or don't ever fucking allow anyone. Like, if you do it now, then people can't complain. People can't complain. If you don't do it now, there's no defense. You have to break it now.
But that's where we estimation of how much money we're bringing in, because you get 90 mil for the Champions League, about 40 mil for the Europa League because we're going through to the Super Cup in Udogie on Wednesday the 13th of August. I suppose you're going, Sean. You'll probably be going. So that's 40 mil. That's 130 mil. Keep Romero, sell Richalison, and you'll get money for Richalison because he's a number 9. There aren't, not because we think he's got a great value as Spurs fans, but there aren't any number 9s out there. Everton need one. Lewin's going. He won't sign a new contract. They haven't got a number 9. Where are all these number 9s? There's such a shortage. And even Bissouma, I'm still getting rid of him. I don't care. Right? He goes as well. Then you've got Gil and Højbjerg who've got to be paid for. You might get 5 mil for Gil, 8 mil for Gil, something like that. Højbjerg, they still has 8.5 million euros or pounds, is it Marseille? They couldn't do it last season because of the PSR rules. Like. So I think you're talking over 200 odd mil, but we could spend.
That's okay.
But then it's down payments. It's down payments. I mean, people think
now's the fucking time. Now is the fucking time. If ever Daniel Levy was to throw the boat, throw caution to the wind, now is the fucking moment, Daniel. Like, for the love of God, bro, I spent 3 years defending you. Now I've got my moment to say, where are you now? I can't wait. I'm going to spend the next couple of weeks being shameless. I'm going to be, David, you're coming back on to have a crack at trying to break me down. Most people fail in the worst of times. They're certainly not going to achieve it in the best of times. But I think that now, Daniel Levy, you have a chance to win over the Johnny-come-latelys that walked across the hockey. Right? You've done it. You got your trophy. I don't give that trophy credit to you. I don't hold the trophy failures at your feet either. I think that there's like the buck stops at the top thing is a silly, lazy argument. It's overly simplified. I think that Daniel Levy, now you have the chance. Surely, mate, you must have loved that minute when you went, "We are the champions," and you were part of this today, Daniel. I didn't see you on the stage. And fair play to him. He let the team and the players have their moment, right? Could you imagine Juan Laporta staying away if Barcelona had done what, could you imagine, all of the various directors of football, all the various presidents around European football staying out of the way? Daniel Levy stayed out of the way today.
Like he did in Amsterdam, and he wasn't on the pitch at the end of the game.
I don't think...
No, he was on the pitch.
I don't think Ange's going now, because when you read that report, I forget what I was saying about that after the game. Levy hugged Ange? That doesn't happen. That's something you see in a horror film, you know what I mean? Like, Levy was supposed to have hugged Ange. He must have thought of all the money he's got coming in, no,
I think he went, fucking love you, mate. Like these people have given me I've got a thick skin. No one's got a thick skin. Everyone doesn't like it. You learn to have a thicker skin.
Yeah, it's called resilience.
You learn to have a thicker skin, right?
Taken off
no one likes getting hate. No one enjoys it. He hasn't enjoyed it. This is the moment for Daniel Levy to sit there and feel like, I want more of what happened on Wednesday. I loved it. Okay, Daniel, with that to happen, mate, now's the time.
We've been there twice.
Will the troll from hell change his spots? That's the thing.
Yeah, but we've been there twice. We've been there at least twice before where the opportunity to kick on presented itself. And it didn't happen. Yeah.
Berghvall left after winning it. Ange could follow suitly after winning it.
Yeah, but this is the third
Ramos
time.
went.
Yeah, but hang on. But what I'm saying, this is the third time in the ENIC reign now presenting itself right now that he's got a chance to kick on. This is his third time. Okay. So the first time.
When was the first time?
The Sarr Nelson window. Okay. So
what year was that? Remind me what year that was?
Was it 2010, 2011? Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the time where we had a chance of the league. We went up to Man City, if you remember, and we get in Nelson and we get in Sarr, and he wanted Tevez on loan and he wanted Gary Cahill, right? That's number one. Number two, I know the reasons why. He wanted to get a good deal on the loan rate for building the stadium. But you don't go 12 to 18 months without buying a player in the Premier League.
518 days it was.
Yeah,
Liverpool have done it before.
Well,
Liverpool went by 8 players a season.
No, but let's look at it. You had up top Kane, Dele, Son, Eriksen, your mate Coco Lamela. If we'd have bought in Grealish, I don't have a problem buying in a young player with potential if we've got a good established first.
We're not doing the Grealish thing. Please don't do the Grealish thing.
Okay, but what I'm saying is the issue that Dele, Son, Eriksen had no competition for their places, and they got run into the ground because of Poch's training methods and his style. Yeah, that's when you would have topped up your squad, right? And all the players who've left the club since then, they've all said if you'd have bought 1 or 2 top players, not Grealish at the time, and kick on. So there's twice we've had an opportunity to kick on. This is now the third time. All right, now there may be cash flow issues, another conversation for another time, right? However, this is the opportunity and this is the moment.
Right.
I agree with
you. We need to kick on now.
So Sean, me and you now, we're in agreement on that this is the moment.
Do you know, I had an agreement. There's a guy called Graham, who's like the staunchest Levy outer. He doesn't often pop in my comment section anymore, but every time I go to Tottenham, I always see him. Right, always say hello to him. He always comes up and said, like, he's a lovely guy in face to face, but obviously he goes to all the protests. He's like a 0.01% point holder or whatever. He's massively Levy out, massively Levy out. At the last time I saw him at the Palace game, he and I spoke for like 45 minutes, and we didn't disagree on a single thing. It was like there's almost like the Venn diagram of like 2 opposing arguments that are like merged, and there's a little bit of a corner of overlap.
The interlocking bit of your
the interlocking bit where we completely agreed, right? That there's there's opportunities and there's risk and stuff, but we can all agree, I think, now that it's almost like a perfect storm of opportunity, given the fact that, like I said it 4 times, like we don't need to turn over an entire squad. We're back in the Champions League. There's other teams. There's other teams that have to be very careful, right? Because Manchester City, Arsenal, Chelsea for sure, and Aston Villa are set up with cost structures that essentially require them to have Champions League revenue every year to be able to sustain their expenses. And there's only 4 spots, right? There's 5 if the
5 at the moment. Yeah.
at the moment, but that doesn't necessarily last. And there's like 8 teams that are in and amongst that kind of conversation. Manchester City aren't even guaranteed Champions League football right now. They've got to win this weekend, right, to make sure that they're still in there. So they can sustain it for 1 more year, but they can't do it for 2. And if Tottenham take this opportunity now, they can get in there. And there's a double whammy here, right? Like you get in, you push someone else out. And if it happens to be one of those teams that have like thrown caution to the wind too much, gone too aggressive, and they don't get in for 2 years running, they're fucked. And so like you can reset the apple cart. You can absolutely change the world order or the Premier League order of teams that have just expected Champions League revenue because they've always spent that much. They've always got the best players and they always guarantee that revenue. Not anymore. Not anymore. So Tottenham, I'm sure we all echo the same thoughts that right now there is an expectation, and even the staunchest Levy supporters would say that the things that were relevant in 2019 that most people don't want to talk about, they're not relevant right now. And so like we're 6 years into the new stadium. A lot of that stuff's paid off. The infrastructure, the depreciation, the amortization, all that stuff is like a lot more manageable. And so now with what's just happened, there really is an opportunity to go and do it. And that starts with breaking the wage structure. It starts.
And so I have this very naive hope that the guy that we've got in from Arsenal, who appears to know what he's doing in terms of running a football club, right? Yeah. My naive hope is he's not another Trevor Birch who leaves after 3 months. He's someone who knows what he's doing. He's allowed to get on with what he's doing because he's a subject matter expert, not Levy. And then I mean, is Paratici really coming back? Because I'm very 50-50.
His band's up the end of June, but
I'm very 50-50 on him because a lot of people hail Paratici because his benchmark is Steve Hitchen. Yeah, that plant over there would do a better job.
Well, I'd just interrupt and give him some credit. 9 of those players that won us that trophy were Paratici signings on the pitch. 9 of them were signings.
But that's likely going to be the case when the other guy's only been here a year and the previous guy's been involved in 5 years, right? So like it's like, you know, if I wake up and go, you know, I lost 2 stone going to the gym, and the clothes that I've been wearing, you know, I bought in the last 2, like, yeah, that makes sense, right? Because I'm not going to be wearing gym gear that I bought 10 years ago.
Don't always come back with brilliant analogies.
Well, it's actually a shit analogy, but the point I'm making is like it's just logical to think that most of the players that were playing in that game were going to be his signings. So I don't think there's necessarily like a correlation there. But
no, I'm really 50-50 on Paratici. I've got to be honest. All right.
I don't think he's the I don't think he's the Conor. I'm not sure what he is, but I think he's the best we've had for a while. But I don't think he deserves this like.
What I heard.
He's not. He may be the best. He's the best we've had in a while. But benchmark it against Baldini, Hitchin, Damien Kamoli.
Most clubs have a 50% transfer success rate. Paratici's was 65.
So we need to be up at 80, mate. Look at Forest. Forest got 80-90% right.
And the rumour was that Scott Munn goes, Paratici stays, but Langer keeps his job. But Langer looks to recruit the younger players for the club, for the academies and things like that, whereas Paratici does the senior stuff. So we'll see if that turns out, whether that's absolute BS, you know what I mean? But I can see that happening because I think you do need 2 for that. You can't be going after youngsters and looking for other ready players at the same time, right? If you should focus.
We've got enough youth now. We've got enough. Unless there's a monster out there like a Jarell Hatto, someone like him. Yeah, and I don't hate Adam's suggestion there. Unless there's someone like that you can go out there and go, well, he's kind of like ready now, but also like maybe a Matisse Telder.
I'll be ready. Yeah. If you think Cherky's ready, fair enough.
Exactly, Cherky. Better example. Cherky's mine.
I want the 2. Yeah, no, we want the 3 $250,000 a week players, and to be honest, I don't want them all coming from Serie A either. And there's a big Serie A bias from Paratici. Yeah,
100% agree with that as well.
When you get a chance, have a look at Maddison at Monaco. Tell you, go and watch the videos of him. The guy's an absolute tank. Right?
He is. Yeah, I've liked him for a few years, and his numbers are solid as fuck. But there's always the question of Ligue 1. You know, you don't know what. You know, he wasn't. He's only been at Monaco for a year, I think. So he's anyway. Lads, we've been going for nearly 3 hours, so it's a perfect time to say.
put the link in the channel for you two if you want to come on. Like,
Yeah, thanks, mate. If you can send me
an invite for the WhatsApp group, Dave. Yeah. So they're pretty,
yeah.
pretty good in my WhatsApp group. They're chill. We don't get no fucking. We don't have no racism.
Lads, want to say a massive thank you, David. Brilliant first appearance on the show, mate. I feel bad that it hasn't happened earlier, mate. To be totally honest, I feel regretful because
shame on you, Sean.
It is shame on me. It's been great, and I don't think we disagree on very much at all. In fact, I think we agree.
Well, we're gonna have to work a lot harder on that, Sean. We'll have to do a show we'll do a show where we'll have to work out how to disagree.
Yeah, with fireworks is what we want. Fireworks.
Because it makes it
go bang. We want the fireworks that go bang.
No, I think the best content is when you have people on who don't necessarily agree with each other, but do it respectfully, and that's the way to do it.
100%.
But thank you for having me on.
Actually,
just quick chance to plug the lads. It's Tottenham podcast. What's the show on it?
Yeah, so it's Lads It's Tottenham YouTube channel. The show's called Grumpy Old Spurs, which is on at 8 p.m. Tuesday night, 5 a.m. Wednesday morning. What I give for this, But it is just light-hearted, a bit of a piss take. We've had such things as Dog of the Week on. So, in the programme used to have Dog of the Week. So we put on Dog of the Week. And there's that tree that next door, Toby Carvery knocked down next to the training ground. We had Tree of the Week. It's just a little bit of a piss take. But we talk about the stuff. My two colleagues on there, I call them the Ange Undertakers. They've wanted the body there at the mortuary for a long time. But I think they're not going to get their wish. And I try and do my best on behalf of Australia.
Well, I've got to change one thing. I've got to change one thing in our group because we used to ask people 4 questions. How do you become a Spurs player? Name a favourite player, best goal, blah, blah. And the 5th question always was, it was called Spurs Empty Trophy Cabinet, right? And you were allowed, as a bit of fun at the end of the show, to throw anyone in there you dislike, a pundit, an official, a football player and whatever, So naturally, Levy's in there, Jason Cundy's in there, Durham's in there from Talk Shite Radio, things like. But that was always a bit of fun at the end. But I'm going to change the name of that to maybe, I don't know, Spurs Refurbished Trophy Cabinet. I don't know. I don't know what sounds better.
Easier for the first time in a while. It's the nicest sized trophy as well. That one takes up the space of 2 or 3 others, and it's a wonderful time to be a
on a clear day. You know what I mean?
We've finally done it. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's been watching. Please smash the like. Please hit the subscribe if you haven't already. Please get over to the Lads It's Tottenham podcast. Please also get over to Spurs Diehards TTID. They're going live in 35 minutes time. So make sure you get over there and say hello. And you'll see me back bright and early tomorrow morning with Bugsy Malone. She's been missing you lot. And I hope you've been missing her too. And we will be pumping out some spurious links to all and sundry over this summer. It's going to be a wonderful summer to be a Tottenham Hotspur transfer fan. We've got loads more to chew about. We're going to leave it there, guys. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the super chats as well. Apologies once again for not getting out the content in Bilbao. It was just a fuck up of epic fuck ups on my part. But it is what it is. Tottenham lift the trophy. On we go. We start again. And as Ange says, we never stop. And I will never stop this summer. You can guarantee it. There's going to be 3 or 4 videos a day for you lovely people. So relax on the clickbait stuff because it might be true, it might not be, but I don't make up the news. I'll see you next one, guys. Take it easy. Ciao, ciao.
It is what it is, mate. Come on, you Spurs.